All right. Welcome to the Rocket Launcher Podcast, episode 141. I am your host, Supreme King, and join with me as always is my co-host, and his name is.
It's your guy Omezis.
How's everything going, man? You excited, man? This is like the Super Bowl of video games. I'm excited. I'm excited to go over the things that I liked. How about you?
Yeah, there's some cool stuff. I'm excited for some of it, like some nice surprises. That I'm ready to talk about.
Now, real quick, I just want to tell the people apologies in advance. The footage on screen is the brand new Mario Kart, but I believe Nintendo's new system is not fully compatible with the capture card yet. Or however, I don't know if they need to do a software thing or maybe I need to do a thing. But the footage, like when it's in standstill mode, like it's a little bit more clear, but the second we start moving and everything, as you can see, it kind of blurs and pixelates a little bit in the footage. That's something I had just noticed. Now on actual screen and stuff, like if you're just playing the game, it looks fine. It looks just like if you was playing a normal game. For some reason, it's not capturing that well with this. I might switch to the $20 capture card that I use with the old systems and see if it might work a little better with this. It would be very ironic if it does. But as of right now, it might be a small compatibility issue, and it's not really that big of a deal because it's like, well, Elgato was the capture card. It's like they can't really take account for a system that's not out yet. And so, 2-3 years later after getting the capture card, then this system comes out. So of course, maybe there's some slight different technology or something, and so it's just not as clear. I'll work on it. I only wanted to do footage for this because this is like, brand new or whatever. And honestly, I guess if I was to give impressions of this game, I don't know if I mentioned before, I didn't play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as much throughout the years. I just kind of picked it up here and there. And for me, it's like, okay, it is an upgrade from that, but I just kind of feel like it's just more content of racing, It's almost like I play Hot Wheels 1 and 2 at the same time right now. And I kind of gotten to the point where it's like I'm playing a racing game while playing the main game as like either a warm up or a cool down game. So it feels like something like that. They do a very good job, at least with the tracks, because there really is a whole lot of shortcuts and rails and doing all that stuff. Like this footage is really just me playing the track the way it's supposed to be played, but you can really get in there and go crazy. And I've seen some footage of people doing that where you can just kind of literally just go all over the place, especially in that free roam part. But yeah, that's just Mario Kart. I mean, I'm pretty sure people are aware of what to expect with Mario Kart at this point anyway, because this is like the 9th game. And there's been like, the other 8 games, I'm pretty sure people have played at least half of those. So they know what to expect with it. This part right here is a little interesting where you're kind of driving even though it's not ready, set, go yet. That's something that's new. I don't think I've really seen that too much in other games, so that's pretty cool. And then they have the whole like change your outfit once you go through that drive-through, which my character just did right then and there. So it's some cool stuff in there. It's some cool stuff in that game. So it's about 45 minutes worth of footage here, and then almost everything else is your footage. So hopefully we can get through the whole thing with the shows, but that's all I really wanted to say. Did you have any questions at all regarding the Switch 2 maybe that I could answer? I don't know if there's anything you might want to know.
My original questions, I think you answered it, if I'm not mistaken. Does the Nixie controller work with this system?
No, it
The new
doesn't.
Nixie
There
system?
is one thing I do want to mention though. Now I just thought about it because you mentioned the controller. Um, Playing with the Joy Cons here, it doesn't feel as good as playing with the Joy Cons for the Nixie controller going for the Switch 1. Because that does have better grip and everything. But in this game, there was a very specific turn that I could not make on one level, which usually cost me the match every single time until I got the pro controller. And the pro controller is a regular controller, and then I'm able to make that turn with no problem. And it's that's just a minor detail that I've seen. Just from my experience, this is one particular level. I don't know if it shows in this footage, but it's one particular level where as soon as I try to make this turn, I just can't, and I'm just like crashing up against the wall and scraping up against it because the Joy Cons don't have that much travel, basically. Because they're just little things. I guess we could probably mention some of the feedback coming from the community because apparently the Joy-Con drift has not gone away, and
Yeah,
people were getting it as early as like within 24 hours. Apparently, I don't know how you do that, but some people were playing hardcore, and I guess they were just getting it, um, which is
plus some people try
crazy.
to push limits, so they might have been like playing games where they're shoving the joysticks like left and right heavy, to see if something happens, like just stressing it. Um, I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised if that happened. Which I'm not saying is their fault. You should like this should be an issue that should still be, you know, fixed by now.
yeah, it's really not acceptable if you think about it overall because we call it Joy-Con drifts because of Nintendo. No one says it's joystick drift, right? Joysticks is all of it, but they say Joy-Con drift. And so they were known for that, and I think everybody just assumed right away because of the Hall effect Joy-Cons that are out there and that technology that Nintendo would just adapt it right away, and we kind of just ran with that narrative. But I guess they just didn't, and they went with whatever they have, and then we have the Joy-Con drift again, I guess. And it was mentioned that they were replacing it for people for free. But that doesn't really solve the problem in the long term because it's like in the long term you're supposed to deal with this system for 6, 7 more years, 8 more years, and you're expected to just kind of have the drift period then in that whole lifespan, and then people will be having it all over the place when there is a controller technology out there that you know deals with that issue. And now you can only get it through third party controllers. And there's the other issue that basically Nintendo could brick your system. Everybody's thinking Nintendo's going to brick your system if you try to use outside stuff. I don't know if you're also aware. I'll say this and then we'll mention, or we can go on to the shows. Right now, Nintendo software, I'm pretty sure this is just a quick software update. But if you have controllers that work with the Switch 1, they're not going to work with the Switch 2 out the gate if you've already paired it to the Switch 1. If you buy a Switch 1 controller and you have not paired it to the Switch 1, and it's a regular controller and not a Joy-Con, it should pair to the Switch 2 with no problem. But the second you pair it to that particular Switch 2, you can't go back and pair it to your Switch 1. That's a thing that I've noticed. That's actually with my own testing, and I've heard people say this online as well. So my Pro controller that came with the Switch 1, I can't use it on the Switch 2 as of right now until I'm sure they do some sort of patch update. Because there's no way that's going to stay for good. Like, they have to address that. Um, and then the Switch 2's Pro controller does not work on the Switch 1. Those type of things. So that's a thing right now. And I really do hope that that's temporary because that will mean that you can't bring forth none of your controllers. Where if you were on like Xbox, for example, all of the controllers go forward. And I think the Elite controller goes backwards. So like you should be able to do that this day and age with the technology. It's not like it's supposed to be that much different. But yeah, that's I think that's pretty much it. Do you have any other questions about it?
Uh, how's the magnetic? Since that's the magnetic Joy-Con sticking to the controller? Like, is it snappy? Is it
I
so it
mean,
doesn't like
it's more of a gimmick kind of thing. There's a thing that you have to. It's like a lever on the back that you uh like push into it, and it like is it pushing? Let me see. It's right here.
see what hurt
I
it?
don't know if you can hear it, but it's this thing like here
Yep.
where if you push into it, it releases it off of it, and then like it snaps back in pretty well, and it holds itself pretty well.
Okay.
But I don't really play it handheld that much because I think I said before, this thing is like really like it feels fragile. Like if anybody has ever had an iPhone or something, before you put a case on it and a screen protector, just like a brand new phone, that phone feels like it's like really new, but it feels like it could break at any moment until you get that case on there and that screen protector. And now you're like, okay, I don't have to worry about it so much. It's like that's how that feels. It's like, and you're worried that you could like break it until you put it into the dock. At least me. That's kind of how it would feel. It doesn't have that like I'm a big solid piece of tech the way something like a Steam Deck would feel. Because a Steam Deck feels solid, solid. Like yes, you don't want to break that either or drop that, but it don't look like it don't feel like you could just snap it in half. I don't know. It's like it feels like you could just snap this thing in half. But yeah, it looks really nice. It's sleek and flat. But I do feel like coming off of those Nixie controllers, I would prefer those more than I would prefer the Switch 2's Joy-Cons. It's like to go back after I've had those for a couple weeks is kind of like you know. Holding this in my hand, the other Joy-Con that's on the right hand side, like it kind of digs into your palm a little bit holding it in your hand, and then like if you're playing Mario Kart for a couple races and stuff, it feels a little like it almost hurts going into the right hand palm a little bit. Where I didn't have that issue with like the other Joy-Con. That also is just a me thing. Maybe it's because shape of my hands or something. That's just it. That's it. As far as a system, I mean, unless you just really want Mario Kart right now, I don't really feel like you necessarily need to rush out there and get it. Mario Kart is still very fun, but I don't have the Nintendo Online or whatever, so it's not like I'm on there playing with a whole bunch of people and it's just crazy chaotic fun. Like all this footage is just me playing against the NPC, you know. So, yeah, but I don't know. That's pretty much it. I think the thing will probably get better over time, but as of right now, it's just like it's another system. It's kind of in the way. I got to figure out where to actually put it because I don't want to. I didn't want to take the Switch one down and move it over, especially now that I know that I'm having some issues with the footage and everything. So, I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, it's just a software update. But yeah, as of right now, I'm probably going to still stick with the Switch One, because one of the things that I'm trying to do is have decent footage for the channel. And then if I do like solo vids, I need like footage that look a little bit better. Where I feel like this footage here is slightly unacceptable. And so unless they have like another capture card, or if they do a software update that supports the Switch 2, I'm probably just going to shelve it for a while, because right now it's the summer of Game Pass for me. I'm just playing Game Pass and everything else, and the Switch is just literally just one new game right now. So that's it. That's all I want to say. We can move on to the first show. Now I kind of went in order as far as, because for anybody out there, we didn't really prep this. I went in order based on dates. So the earliest show that we missed from before was called the Tiny Build Game Show. Very, very short. This one was 26 minutes and about 13 seconds long, I guess. I didn't get nothing from that. Did you get anything from that?
Yeah, I got a few games.
The tiny build games. Go ahead. Go ahead. What did you get from that?
So The King is Watching. Um, it's like a real time strategy, like car bot. I wrote RTS car bot. Uh, but yeah, that game seemed fun. Voin, I think it was Voin. Voin. It was like a first person. You got like a sword, medieval, right, which is a bunch of bosses, and then Speedrunner 2, the King of Speed.
Okay. Okay. Well, at least you got something. This one was where I think this was literally the shortest show out of all of them. It kind of just came and went really quick, like a warm up show. This was like literally the warm up show to everybody else's show. 26 minutes, and then if those are what you got, that's great. I didn't really get anything, so it didn't really do much for me. But there's still so much more shows going on. The next one was Thinky Direct 2025. I think I said that right. Thinky Direct. Did you get anything from this show at all? Thinky Direct.
Yeah, I also got 3.
Okay.
So one of them was Pup Champs. It was like, basically it was one of those like wholesome looking games. But you were, like puppies, and it was playing soccer, but it was like turn based. So
Okay.
like you had to hit certain moves to play soccer. Parallel Experiment, which just kind of looked like a short game, but it was like a co-op, I believe. I remember earlier when I looked it up to remind myself of what it was, there was some people who already had it. It was like Parallel Experiment full playthrough, and it was like 2 hours long. So it doesn't seem like a long game. And then The Mermaid Mask, which I don't even remember what that was. But I don't know, that one seemed interesting. It was, it seems like some sort of like detective sort of game. You're like 2 people on, looks like some like old timey ship.
Okay.
And you're just like trying to solve mysteries. There was a good chunk of mystery and detective games, I remember.
Okay. I'm glad you got some stuff. I do want to mention, I forgot to mention because I wrote this down. At the very beginning, I just said I did sub to all of the gaming show channels. And I did that just in case some of these guys appear throughout the year with something else. It'll hit my radar. A couple of them did announce other shows that was supposed to happen a little bit later. They were all calling it winter showcases. So I'm excited to see, more shows happen in different parts of the year, because obviously all of these happening right here and there was a little bit much. It was no different than how I would complain in the past, but I think they turned it up a little bit. It was like at least 4 or 5 more shows this year compared to any other year.
I actually have an issue with that. It was not only that, but it was the way some of this was kind of handled.
Yeah.
Which I guess I can bring up now. And it popped up a lot, I know, through the Summer Games Fest as well. Did you notice that they're trying to capitalize on Claire Obscure by constantly mentioning everything being an indie developer?
Probably.
It wasn't the fact that, like, it's like I kept trying to, like, when I heard it, it's like, of course, Claire Obscure, the reason why it got so popular, it was like, from the looks of it, it's AAA quality without the AAA politics, right? With being just a really good game. But it seems like every time they were advertising something, it was like, here comes a game from a small team of 30 people. And it was just like, okay, but that doesn't mean it's going to just be good, right? Like, but they kept doing that. And then I feel like because of also with Claire Obscure being big, and then the previous game, Baldur's Gate 3, I don't think they're an indie team, but smaller, also being big, it felt like there was like 8 more just indie shows. Like there was a 4-hour indie show, and then there was like several mini indie shows. And that's when I complained to you saying, why do we have these separate indie show categories if they're also doing just giant indie shows? And it seems like they're really trying to just go, look, it's indie, so you should buy it. Like that's what it felt like. It didn't feel like they were capitalizing on the right reason.
Yeah, I think I think it's still at the end of the day corporate trying to find any little way to advertise something to you, and the focus one point probably will be like, oh, it's not AAA, so that means it is good, and maybe some corporate shirt and tie people might hide behind that, um, anything to sell you or something, right? But at the end of the day, the game really does have to be good in order for the
Yeah.
people out there to actually respond. You can't have games that are actually bad. And maybe we could segue away from the titles real quick just to mention that does bring up the issue with the game Mind's Eye, which I actually thought was hilarious when I was seeing it. Because I saw,
Cyberpunk 2.
yeah, some people were on purpose playing the earliest version of it on stream just to like get the laughs. Um, but I remember seeing like there was like a moment where the game would just be on and then the character's head would just morph and just warp all over the place, and it's like it's not even really doing anything, and it was just a lot of crazy looking glitches. And I was hearing about how there were refunds being given out for this game.
Yeah, PlayStation did refunds. They don't do that often. So I feel like that's the ultimate sign that the game is like extra broken, is if PlayStation's like, here's your money back.
Yeah, it might be another one of those games where it's like it might get better once it's fixed, but you have to wait 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
And we'll see if the community is patient with it and will give it another chance, because it's pretty much it's pretty much, how much I say this, it's understood that they gave Cyberpunk another chance at this point, because at this point, like, it had its resurgence. There was the show, and then there was like the Phantom Liberty DLC, and maybe this game might need just a little bit more DLC that's just held off until the base game is polished, and then everybody will go look at it then. Because that's kind of what happened with Cyberpunk. It was like Cyberpunk had to be dead for like two and a half years, and then there was their show and the Phantom Liberty thing, and it kind of just got this resurgence. But at the end of the day, I don't think anybody's gonna pay full price. They're just gonna have to take that L. But maybe they might have a better game in 3 or 4 years. It's just crazy to say that, but that's where we're at with developers and development. I didn't know too much about Mind's Eye before. I've only heard the name and seen some trailers, but it wasn't really that big on my radar. Was this something you might have been looking at?
It was from the I want to say the award show, if I'm not mistaken, where they were showing it. It was basically being touted as like a GTA alternative, is what people were saying. It's like GTA before GTA 6 comes out, like, to get you in the mood. Because it looked like one of those just ambitious, like, I remember it was like, you can, like, you got a drone, you got the gunplay and the driving, and everybody was just like, okay, what's the main story though? And it was just kind of showing off all that. It was like the cinematic gameplay, but I think that was the issue, is that it seems like every time they advertised it, it was cinematic gameplay and not gameplay. Even like right before its release. But yeah, like, it was on my radar. It wasn't like, like I needed day one, but it was something I was like, hey, look out for this game. So it is kind of messed. It's sad that still here's another game that came out broken.
Yeah, that's gonna always be the that's gonna happen every year. It just hasn't happened that bad before, except for Cyberpunk. Every game is gonna like have its moment where it's just like, okay, this should have been baking a little bit longer. I don't know what it is about these deadlines in this corporate world, but if something is not finished, that does not mean just go ahead and throw it out there because you felt like you ran out of money. Because on the back end, you still gotta fix it. You still gotta do the work anyway. But now
you have to like now it's gonna be like, well, the DLC gotta be free, or like we gotta put it on sale for people to buy. Like, in the end, you end up losing money.
Yeah. So hopefully the industry. Well, I don't think they're not gonna learn. Because if they would have learned, this wouldn't have happened. Because after Cyberpunk, that should have shapen up a lot of people, but it really didn't. It just made it so like it's not that bad. It's just, but
Yeah.
it's still bad. Now it's like, okay, well, it's bad again. It shouldn't have been, but it
Hmm.
is.
It's not.
So
They're not going to learn because the people who are making these type of decisions are not the people who are learning the lesson, right? Like that's the issue. It's all they're looking at is numbers. So all they see is will Cyberpunk eventually sold, so we will eventually sell. Like that's the full message that they got from it. Unfortunately,
yeah.
um, yeah, it's messed up.
Well, I guess we can hop back into it. I will probably try this game. Like, unfortunately, when these type of things happen, I have to say for myself, you get picked up on a Black Friday, probably the year after. So 2026 Black Friday, I'll
Mm,
probably take a look at it for the cheap, and then by then, it should be playable to a certain extent. And even then, I buy it for the cheap, but I still shelve it because it's not even. It's like you
yep.
can't even really get excited to play certain things because the second you play and then you have one of those glitches or something, it really does take you right out of the experience. It's like the hype just dies a little bit.
Yep.
And so I will play it. I will probably get it Black Friday 2026, unfortunately. But it is what it is. I don't know. Was this a $70 game?
I believe so. Yeah.
$70 right now. Well, um, industry, we demand better. So please give us better, or you will not see um
Oh,
any
60.
type of profit.
Sorry, it was 60.
60. Yeah,
Yep.
well, even at 60, it's just like, well, you still talking about a full price game. Even, you know what? Even if the game was cheap, it's like put out
Still broken.
a quality product. Imagine you go to a pizza place and it's like not even cooked, and they just kind of
Yeah,
hand you,
we'll finish sending you the ingredients later.
yeah, no pepperoni yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we can get back on track. Now let's see. The next show was called the Indie Quest 2025. And so, yes, this is like one of the many indie-ish shows, I guess. Indie Quest 2025, they claim to have 40 plus exclusives JRPGs as a reveal. Now, I've only grabbed a couple here. This is actually one of the first shows where I did grab something. You grab
Do
a
you
couple
remember
things
if you
here?
had like if any? Oh, I found it. The gaming shelf one. I had two.
Yeah.
I had Starcadia.
Okay.
Was one of them, which I don't know. Just it was like a turn-based, simple, like again, wholesome kind of looking game. Where it's like you and a little squad of two people trying to just fight villains. And like I guess the combat is reminiscent of like Pokemon style. I guess it's just you pick the attack that you're gonna do, and move on, but there's no Pokemon. It's you and two other people. And then Cyber Threat, which was only kind of like a teaser trailer. They didn't have a
Mm-hmm.
lot for it yet, but it seems like you're like it looks very Persona like.
Okay.
Um, but you're like a hacker. So the whole thing is one of those JRPGs where you're like a team of hackers trying to fight something. Those are the two I got from it.
Okay. One of the games I think I had put on here was it says the time I have left.
Okay.
And then like part of the notes I put on here says an escape adventure type game. It does have a demo that I think is playable right now. So the time I have left, go check out the demo. And then the other one I believe is called. Oh no. The other one is a shout out. Okay, somebody was in the show that I wanted to give a shout out to. So shout out to Fem Troops. It's a girl who does content around some of these type of games. They feature her on there. It's like a little content creator, somebody that I watch. So when
Okay.
I saw her, I said, okay, shout out to her. So no, just one game, just one game here. So 3 shows in, I got one game, which is okay. But you got a bunch of them so far. This is good. So I'm glad you got a bunch. So yeah, that's the other one.
I feel like
Um,
when yours starts to pick up, mine's gonna start to die down.
yeah, there is a pickup on the next one because it looks like for me overall, spoiler alerts, a lot of the stuff that I was picking was more of the horror games. But the next game showcase is called the Horror Games Awards Summer Showcase. Now,
Yeah.
funny enough, I don't think there was any award actually in this.
No.
But this was 2 hours, 33 minutes, and 36 seconds.
Yeah.
And so here, I guess it was more themed around horror stuff. But I grabbed just a few things here. So the first thing that I have was called Rogue Mansion, and it looks like a Resident Evil 1 clone. It has like the old school Resident Evil look, kind of top down, that type of thing. That was something that I picked up, or at least wish list. Everything that I mentioned so far and is going to mention, is something that I wish list, just so everybody know. On Steam primarily. But yeah, Rogue Mansion was one of them for me. What about you?
They had one game from this, surprisingly, and it was a game that it was mentioned before, The Occultist,
The
which is like
Occultist.
towards the end of the show. It looks like the closest we're ever gonna get to like a supernatural based video game where you're just like some dude who hunts down like uh evil magic stuff, and you're in some like haunted like house trying to solve the mystery.
Okay. All right. Well, I do got a couple more. So one of them was called Fresh Made Fear. This is another one that does have a demo, so definitely go and take a look at the demo. Fresh Made Fear is also a horror type game. Scarlet Lake was another one, also a horror type game with a demo. So go check that one out. I did make note of a lot of things that had demos, just so people can go and get the demo. Everything that has demos though are all under Steam, from my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
All the demos are there, so you can go there and try out a bunch of these games before they come out, wish list them and everything. And then the last one I have on here, I believe it's called Liminal Point. It's a little bit more like the old school Resident Evil 2 clone, something like that. Um, I don't know if this one has a demo. I didn't write a demo down for it, but Liminal Point is also another horror game here. So I grabbed a few of them. I think I also noticed, even though I wrote down like, okay, our E clone, a lot of these games really do take inspiration from Resident Evil. I mean, Resident Evil is kind of like the king of horror right now, but like a lot of them really did. They took a lot of Resident Evil, the tank controls, the top-down ish kind of look, that type of thing. Because there's a huge fan base for it, and so go check out some of those games on here. So you didn't have anything else for the horror game show?
I didn't, but I noticed that even some of them were touted as inspired by Resident Evil, so it wasn't like they were trying to hide it.
Yeah, I don't know where they got why they had the word awards in there. There really was no award, unless I really missed it. I didn't see no
I didn't see
award.
any. I didn't see no awards
I didn't see
given.
no
No
trophy or
awards.
nothing.
Nope.
Now I will also let people know when I was watching these shows, I was watching them quite literally three at a time, one on each screen, and I had everything laid out on my paper and stuff. If I needed to focus on something, I focused on that and I wrote it down. I wish list everything on Steam, right? So maybe I would have missed it if it was. I don't think I did because I was able to rewind a bunch of stuff, but I didn't see no award. I just wanted to mention that. But horror game award summer showcase, I did sub to that channel just like all the other ones. So if they come out with something else, I'll definitely keep y'all posted. But that was the one show, the first show that I had like a decent amount of stuff. The very next one is called The State of Unreal. This one, State of Unreal 2025. This one says it was 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 18 seconds long. The biggest part of this was to show off The Witcher 4, basically. It was like basically a graphics showcase. It wasn't really anything to get from this. It was just, here's The Witcher 4, here's like the Unreal Engine. Did you get anything out of this? Did this impress
Just
you?
The Witcher 4.
Huh?
Just The Witcher 4. That was the only thing I got from it.
Yeah,
Uh,
it really was just like, here's graphics. It wasn't
yeah,
like, here's the games and stuff. So this one was just a little bit different of a show for everybody. I think everybody was already aware of The Witcher 4 and was already wishlist The Witcher 4 if you are a Witcher fan. If not,
yeah,
then definitely go back and play some of the other Witcher games right now until this one comes out, because I think you need to know the story, the lore, that kind of thing. But the graphics was okay. I did notice, I put in here, there's just a lot of just walking around throughout this show. It wasn't really too much going on. I think The Witcher itself, they were showcasing it off of a base PS5. They put a lot of emphasis on 60 FPS. And then the crowd, or they ignored it. They ignored the fade in people in the crowd on like one part of the game. I don't know if you had noticed that. They were trying to like show off like, oh, you can have all these people on the screen, and then some people was fading in and out. So it's like maybe it was a memory thing, like you couldn't really actually have that many people on the screen. But they kind of ignored it, and the chat didn't though. I was kind of laughing at it because the live chat was calling it out
chat's
actually.
gonna catch it.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it was just a graphics show. It wasn't too much going on. So we could probably move on. Now, I will say the next one is called the Best Indie Game Showcase. This one I kind of watched in like two parts because there was just a lot going on. This showcase was 4 hours, 20 minutes, and 21 seconds. And it absolutely was 4 hours. It absolutely was. It just kept going. I grabbed a bunch of stuff because it kept going, but it took me 2 days to get through this particular one. I don't know about you. How long it take you to really get through this one? Did you just watch it straight up, or how did you feel about this one?
To be honest, I sped through it. So like, not only did I watch it, I was watching it at like 2 times the speed, and then at some point I just kind of started clicking through because there would be like a row of games where I was just like, I don't care about any of these. uh, to be honest, like those, like it'll be just a chunk that I would just like speed through. So I'm sure like with fast forward, and I may have missed a couple. I don't think so, because usually it'll just be, I'll see the first couple seconds of a game. And if it doesn't look like something that I would normally play, like there's certain styles of games that I just don't typically gel with. So if it looked like that, then I'll try and fast forward to the end where it shows the name of it and then move on. But I was
Yeah,
like, kind of speed through it. It just felt too long.
it was definitely the longest show out of all the shows. But I did grab a whole lot of stuff. I ain't gonna hold you up. I grabbed a bunch of
Okay.
stuff. Um, I will say a lot of them they're gonna sound the same. So, um, I think one of them was called Avis Loop. I already had this on my wish list from before. It's a fast-paced 2D hack and slash game. The next one, let me see. I don't know how to pronounce this. Cantonaut. I don't know if I said that right. Kataanaut. Cantonaut. Is that how you say it?
Sounds right.
Um, it's also the same as the other one, 2D hack and slash. This one had a demo. There was one that was called 13Z, the Zodiac Trials. This one was a 3D hack and slash, 3D slasher. I think a lot of all my slashers was really coming from this show. Another one, Nether Ward or Nether Word Covenant. Another one that was a 2D slasher. That's Netherword Covenant. Um, Reset. I ain't write this stuff down right. I just I can't read my own writing, man. I'm telling you, I was writing stuff fast. Resetna, 2D slasher. Resetna. Resetna. Hopefully, I wrote that down correct. Another 2D slasher. Metaball was very interesting. I don't know if you saw that one. Metaball was something I had already wish list, but it's like a basketball Rocket League type game.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you catch they also had a soccer? Like it was Rocket League, but with people. So like normal soccer, like they
mhm.
went backwards.
Yeah, so there's a couple extra things. So that was all I got for the 2 hour mark. And then I had moved on, but I'm gonna change the page and just keep going and then come back. So
Oh well.
if I keep going, oh, you
No,
got some stuff from this show? Go ahead.
this was the. Oh, I lost it on my list. What show was this? The best indie one, right?
Yeah, 4 hour show.
So I actually only gotten 5 games. Oh well, 4 because Pup Champs was a copy. But Meta Ball that you got. Um, Big Hops was another one.
Okay.
That was towards the end. It was like a platformer where you play as a frog. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Dark Queen of Samador, which I have no I remember recollection of what that was, but I know it caught my attention. I should have wrote down what these were. But then also Mecha Simulactics,
Okay.
um, where you basically build a mech robot and then like go into like strategy turn based, like the grid based combat as you build different robots. So that one seemed cool. Um, oh, the Dark Queen of Samador, you're like a Viking person, and it's like a side scroller hack and slash with some crazy looking bosses. Very cartoon looking. But you're like a knight with like an axe. Um,
Mm-hmm.
fighting for it. So those are the games that I got from the show.
Yeah, the second half of it, I wrote down. I thought it was interesting that they had a paper airplane game type show or airplay game. Not something that I really wanted to play, but I just thought it was interesting to see because it looked like you just had literal paper airplanes, and it was just like you just playing with them, right? And that was the game. But the next thing that I actually had down was called Lucid. That's another 2D slasher. Vessels. Oh no. I put it on here. I wrote something down in the wrong section, and that was one of them. So we're gonna skip that. We're gonna go back to it. Chronicles of the Wolf. It looks like a 2D Castlevania type game. I thought that was pretty cool. That comes out on June 19th, right around the corner, and it has a demo. So definitely check that out. Detective Instinct Farewell My Beloved. That has a demo, and this is set to come out this year. I believe that one is like one of those visual novel type games where you kind of make a decision, watch it play out kind of thing. It's not really a gameplay game, but still something, outside the box. I got a couple of those detective games. Nintendo has that one game that people thought was like interesting, that was different, where I think it was the Smiley Man game that was like the one of their only M-rated exclusive titles.
Oh
That's
yeah.
more of a detective type game, so this is kind of in that same genre. But it's not 100% exclusive to Nintendo. I think it's also on Steam.
Okay.
Atomic Owl. I don't think I wrote anything else here, so just go take a look at the title. This comes out July 15th, 2025. Spirit X Strike. This one has a demo. Go check that out. That's also 2025. You know me, hack and slashers. I just grab so many of them. If you looking flashy and sweet, I'm probably gonna want to play for sure. And then Seal and the Fading World. This is also coming out this year, 2025. It does have a demo. It looks like a 3D a Diablo game, but a little bit faster. And that was like the last thing that I had on here. So I think that particular showcase, I had a much large amount of stuff because it was a 4 hour show. But I do think they could have definitely taken 2 hours of this and said, let's bring it out in the wintertime. Because I do still think overall, when you overwhelm the gamer like that, it's like if even in this one show, if this was all that I had and this was the only show, I still wouldn't buy all of this all at the same time. I still need to kind of space this out. You're not going to play it all at the same time. So they definitely, my feedback is to cut this in half, and take the other half and present it in the winter. That's my feedback. But that was the best indie game show. And then we can go right into one of the heavier hitters, and that's going to be the PlayStation State of Play. I actually did not expect them to show up. I was criticizing them before because it seemed like everybody and their mama decided to have a showcase on schedule, and they weren't on the schedule at first. They just kind of appeared last minute, threw themselves right here in the middle of the schedule. But PlayStation State of Play showed up. A lot of the AAA type games were here. It's a lot of stuff that we've already seen before. That was kind of my gripe overall. But I'll let you go first. Was there anything here that you saw that you was just like, brand new or whatever, that you wrote down wish list? Let's get into it.
All right. Romeo is dead. Romeo is a dead man. Was the first one that I wrote down. It gave No More Heroes vibes. And it's just like your slasher, 3D slasher sort of game. Bloodstained, the Scarlet Engagement. The Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. I like those style of turn-based games. Hirogami, Tides of Tomorrow. I was happy with some more Astrobot stuff. And then there was a Sea of Remnants. FBC Firebreak. It's like a co-op Doom-like shooter. 007 First Light. I was interested in that, like very much so. I know some people were complaining when I first saw it, I was like Tom Cruise, which everyone else did as well.
Yeah.
But as it played off more, it's weird that he had a little scar on his face. I feel like he's supposed to like relatively blend in as the spy, and everyone's gonna remember a guy with a scar. But that's fine. It still looks interesting to me. Then that Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, basically Marvel Street Fighter, looked interesting as well. But yeah, those are the list of like newer stuff. Of course, Digimon Stories, Time Stranger, looked good as well. I was happy with the show. It was fine.
All right, I'm gonna be a little negative. I gotta go in on one thing. Pragmata. I got no faith in this no more at all. I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. Here, how many times you gonna put out a trailer talking about, oh, I'm sorry. This is like the third I'm sorry trailer. And then they would like literally put it in your face, talk about we had to push it back, and we had to push it back again. It's like, bro, I'll play it. I'll play it when it finally decides to show up. But I'm kind of done with it right now. I was like, dude, like, get out of my face. That's like, how many times you gonna cry wolf? Like, for real. Like you gotta go. At this point, like that's just kind of how I feel. Like, I'm glad. Like I know people want more content surrounding Wolverine. But Wolverine didn't come out with a trailer every minute talking about we're sorry that you didn't have anything. Like, what is that? Like, get that up out of here. That's not, I'm kind of not feeling that. Now, I did say Romeo is dead. Romeo is a dead man. I put in there, like, what is happening right now. It was like so much stuff going on. 2026 release. I look forward to seeing what's going on with that. Silent Hill F, we've seen that already. I do feel like it's like more of Silent Hill meets The Grudge. We got to see a little bit more gameplay. This I'm excited is coming out September 25th, 2025, which is pretty cool. And I think we can also add just right now a part of this that it was announced that they're starting to work on Silent Hill One's remake. Now I know somebody out there might be like, "Well, that's kind of backwards. Why they do Silent Hill 2 and then now they're gonna do the one?" Um, Silent Hill 2 was the one that made it really popular. So I guess that's why they wanted to lead with it. But if you want to be one of those purists that's like, oh, I'm only going to play in order, then you can, whatever. I am going to get both or all three Silent Hill games. I didn't get Silent Hill 2 yet. That's one of the higher end ones that I'm planning on getting later on this year. And then I will play Silent Hill F. I will play Silent Hill 1's remake. But that's, I mean, we've already seen some Silent Hill F already, right? Digimon Story, Time Stranger. We've seen that before as well. It does still look good. I am interested in that. That comes out October 3rd, 2025. The Bloodstained game, I don't know if you mentioned that one is
Yeah.
The Scarlet Engagement, I guess. I'm a little hot and cold on it. Some stuff I like, some stuff I didn't really like. But I just want to see some more of it. Final Fantasy Tactics. I mean, that's another Final Fantasy game. I'll be interested in playing it. That comes out September 30th, 2025. So that one and Silent Hill is like right next to each other. So we'll see how that plays out later on this year. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, the 2D game. That has the demo that is out right now for anybody that wants to take a look at that. I am a big fan. That's obviously right up my alley, right next to all the other hack and slashers. So obviously I was gonna say yes, I like that too. I was kind of still annoyed that a lot of these things we've seen before. Like the next thing I'm about to mention, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eaters remake. They just letting you know, hey, that's coming out August 28th. It was like some of these things we've seen a few times before, you know. So it's just kind of like, we could have moved some stuff around. But one of the newer games though was that 007 game. Now I'm a huge 007 fan. I will say, it looks to me that one is going to be third person. This is probably the one franchise where it's like I probably would have preferred for first person. Every other 007 game I've played was first person, but I'm still play this one anyway. Actually, I take that back. There was one game that was From Russia with Love was also third person. So my mistake. But yes, 007. I'm big on the 007 games. Really big. That was like a big part of my teenage time frame. I was playing a bunch of them. I got all of them back through Steam, but I still want to buy a few of them myself to have the original copies because I'm a big fan of that stuff. So I think this was the first time that they've shown that 007 game, and then it showed up a couple more times throughout some of the other showcases. That will probably end up being a day one buy for me. It's not in my top 5 of all the games that we've seen so far, but it is one of them that I'm going to buy right away. Head scratcher for me, but I'm excited to see this Neo 3 coming out 2026. The reason why I say it's a head scratcher is Neo 2 flopped very hard, and I thought that they were going to be kind of done with that. And since then, there has been so many other Souls games that have been out. But I guess because Souls games are so hot right now, they're just like, yo, throw Neo out there as well. So we're going to get another Neo game. It doesn't look bad at all. It looks fine. I just thought, you know, the industry might have been done with it. The way they've been acting about how money is everything and blah, 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 blah. I just remember when Neo 2 came out, it came out in February of a particular year, which I think might have been 2020. And then like literally that November, that same year, I got it on Black Friday for $10. It was like literally that same year it had already nosedived down. And then we didn't hear nothing from Neo for a long time. But I know somebody who was a fan of Neo and they were like really excited to see this. But yeah, another Neo game, 2026. Then they show like some Ghost of Yote still. It's like at this point, I feel like we've seen it so many times, you know. But the newer game that they showed Marvel Token Fighting Souls,
Hmm.
which when they first showed that, I was thinking that it was like Marvel versus Capcom, but then I noticed there was just like no Capcom after a while. But that looked pretty cool though. The Fighting Souls, I was like, okay. It had a lot of the Marvel characters, and you could tell they were more modernized to look like the MCU versions of a lot of these people.
Oh, it was
Um,
some anime styling.
Say that again. You like really low.
It also was like very like anime styled.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they look
yeah,
more like anime characters than like animation or like live action. Like it was very anime.
yeah. Um, and it really did have like a Marvel versus Capcom feel to it, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. This is this is a cool little thing that I think a lot of people will really, um, catch on to and really enjoy. And they didn't necessarily need Capcom to be a part of it, I guess. I would have probably preferred to have some Capcom characters in there, like Ryu, but hey, if they can, Marvel is big enough as it is right now because of all the shows and all the movies that they got enough characters that people know, and so the Marvel side can hold its on. And that was pretty much the PlayStation show. It ended with the Marvel game, if I'm not mistaken, and that was it. So did you feel like you got your money's worth with this show, or because I was a little negative because this was the first show where like more than half of it I had already seen. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
was like every other show so far is like it was a bunch of new little stuff, but I didn't see everything already. This one I felt like, well, I didn't see like all of it. So
it was the not just the fact that it was like things I've seen. It was like it didn't feel like an advancement on what you saw. Like it didn't feel like the first one was like just a cinematic trailer, and this time they were actually able to show off a lot of gameplay. Like it didn't feel like a progression. It felt more like they're like, hey, remember this game's coming out, but like I don't feel like it's been long enough for us to go like I forgot that it was coming out. You know what I mean? Uh, so it felt like a lot of chunk was like rehash. I did like the 007 game. Like I said, I was able to pull some stuff uh from it, so it was okay.
yeah, I don't want to forget this part because I did write this down. They did unveil a fight stick, I guess an
Oh
official
yeah,
PlayStation fight stick. It looked pretty cool. I would still want to have a fight stick that's a little bit more universal. I wouldn't mind getting like a older fight stick that's like PC that can work on console as well. But hopefully, like if that fight stick also works with PC, I might consider it. But I still feel like that would alienate Nintendo and Xbox. I would like to have something that works on everything. Cause that was there's two things that I want that I've kind of been like hesitant to get because of like compatibility, and that's a fight stick and then an actual steering wheel for doing the racing games with the little pedal and everything. It's like I want something that's gonna work on more than one device. So if I'm playing a bunch of racing games, then I can like play with the wheel on all the different systems because those things are kind of expensive, and the fight stick is kind of the same way. But I am still I'm gonna follow it. I'm gonna see what's going on with that. But they kind of just revealed it, and I think it didn't really catch on as much as everything else. It's like the talk of everything is really like centered still around games and stuff. It kind of just came and went. But that is still a real device. I'm pretty sure it's gonna cost some real money. But yeah, is that something you might be interested in, like a fight stick or maybe even a racing wheel? So I don't think they got a
no, I
PS5
don't
racing
play
wheel.
enough. I don't play enough of those style of games. I think to like justify having one. Like I feel like getting the Marvel token game, and then just like that's the sole thing I use the fight stick for. And it's like it doesn't feel like enough. And then like racing wise, I play a few. But again, not enough to justify getting the wheel.
Yeah, I play like by the time I get a wheel, the racing games will be all done. I done started so many of them. So I was like, maybe I should just chill out for a second on some of them, especially the Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels is like my favorite one so far.
So for
The
me,
first
like
one.
my main ones, it's mainly two, is Mario Kart on Switch, and then Crash Team Racing on PlayStation. Um, and then I plan on getting Sonic Cross Worlds for PC. So like all three are covered with like a racing game. But like
Hmm.
again, it's only like three of them. Like I did play through some of the Lego ones and Hot Wheels and stuff like that, but I not again only like a little bit. So yeah.
All right. Well, we can take a quote unquote commercial break. Let's take a look at our unofficial sponsor that I like to shout out, which is Epic Games, who gives away free games like every week, sometimes twice a week. They had like a solid month where it seemed like one title was a relatively bigger, more popular title. But they've come back down a little bit this week, and so one of the games is supposed to be available right now until June 19th, which is still right around the corner, and that's going to be 2 Point Hospital. Um, Whatever that is, 2 Point Hospital.
I
Well,
think
actually,
you're. It's
it looks more
basically
like The Sims, right?
it's more like management. So like the
Hmm.
roller coaster or Jurassic Park management game where it's like you're building stuff for like things to work, but it's this time you're making a hospital work. So
That could
keeping
be
everything
tough, man.
running
That could be
in the
triggering for
hospital.
some people. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then
Make a better hospital.
follow it. That's followed up by The Operator. So they really doubled down on this theme, which is going to be available from June 19th to June 26th. That's The Operator. And there's something that was brought to my attention um, that I don't think we don't have the audience that would have told me this, but if you go to Epic Games from your phone, they may prompt you with the mobile games that's free instead of
Yeah.
these games. So maybe this whole time there has been some mobile games that was free as well that I
I didn't
hadn't
know if they
been.
had weekly mobile games or just a set list of free mobile games.
They just
That's what I
have
thought it
something.
was.
Hmm.
I didn't know if it was like, it changes per week. I thought it was just like, here's these like 20 free mobile games that you could just pick up at any point. Like something like that.
Yeah, so they have a couple other things. I'm gonna try to do a little bit better of taking a look at it. I don't think too many. I've noticed there's like a clear divide between regular gamers and mobile gamers, but free is still free. You can still go check out some stuff if you feel so inclined. So definitely take a look on your mobile phone. They might actually showcase some stuff for you. Other than that, we can hop back into it. The
Real quick,
next, yeah.
before we do, Amazon, they have their games up. Some of them still coming out, some of them already out. This time it's only 9 games instead of like 22. Uh, but from June 5th, you had Mordheim, City of the Damned, and The Abandoned Planet, still available. June 12th, they also dropped off Death Squared and Station to Station. Coming up June 19th, you get Dark Envoy and Fate Undiscovered Realms. And then June
Mm,
26th, for the remaining days of the month, you get Gallery of Things, Reveries, Jupiter Hell, and Thief Deadly Shadows. So I think Thief is like the biggest game for this. Like Mordheim and Thief are the two big ones. But by June 26th, you'll be able to pick up all 9 of those games for free if you have an Amazon account.
all right. Um, Shout out to Amazon. I got a few things I need to buy off Amazon. I've already spent enough money as it is, but you can never stop spending money on Amazon. Shout out to Amazon. Um, the next showcase is actually one of the bigger shows. Probably the biggest show, one of the shows that I think, my personal favorite show. I think this one I got the most out of this one, the most reveals. Um, Jeff Keighley's The Summer Game Showcase. This one had a lot of new stuff, a lot of familiar faces. It also was still, obviously because of Jeff Keighley, one of the better put together shows. In my opinion, it wasn't like it didn't seem like it was just thrown together. He has a certain format that he follows overall that I think is still good, and it's like here's a celebration of some stuff, and then like it's really orchestrated well. But his first game was exciting. I was like, yo, I did not expect this at all. My co-host was so excited when this came out. I know this is in his top 5. The first game was Mortal Shell 2. Was not expecting that at all, man. I was not expecting that. I was like, that was another one where I thought maybe the industry would have been done with. Because I remember, part of the Souls community kind of rejected this game. They thought it was like one of the easier Souls games, at least the first one. This concept that you have a third ability in there that other than like a regular Souls game where you can parry or you can block. This one's like you parry, block, and then you also can like harden your body real quick. And that's like a whole nother thing. But they came out with this game. I was like, yo, Mortal Shell 2. My co-host, I know you are very excited to talk about this. Tell us about this game, man.
It's not on my list at all.
What you mean it's not on your list at all? I know this is your game, man. You was supposed to be playing the first one and beating the first boss. We still waiting for your first boss gameplay footage. We still looking for that footage. We need the first boss beat, man. Where's the first boss footage at? We haven't forgot. We ain't forgot.
I forgot. I'm gonna forget again.
No, you ain't. You can't be forgetting, man. We need this footage. We need this footage.
I'm not playing it.
Why you ain't playing, man? This is your game.
I don't like Souls-like games outside of Remnant.
What you mean, man? This is your title, man. This is my co-host's title.
He's all over it.
My co-host trying to front. We already know he loved this game. This game came out, another Souls game. Are you not excited about another Souls game, man? Did we just talk about one? I forgot already. Oh, Neo was the other one. Yes, 2 Souls games, man. Bam.
Yeah, enjoy.
This is good. This is good, man. It's good for the industry. It's good for the industry. You can let everybody see your collection, man. Great game. Great game. I was not expecting, because I really thought Neo and Mortal Shell, those two especially, I thought the community was done with it. But hey, they back with a vengeance. They here to stay. I'm excited to try them out once I get past. I actually stopped Mortal Shell because we was playing Lords of the Fallen. That's another one I'm gonna get back into probably after I finish Bloodborne, obviously. And then lo and behold, I have on here the next thing I think that they showed was Death Stranding 2. Excuse me, Death Stranding 2. We don't really got to talk too much about it right now. That game got its whole other showcase in itself somewhere later on. Death Stranding 2. Obviously, the spotlight is on this. Jeff Keighley is best friends forever with Mr. Kojima. So Death Stranding 2. How many people out there I would really like to know is like really was blown away by Death Stranding 1? It was such a mixed reaction when it first came out, from what I remember. But then it was one of those things that I heard that people just it grew on people. But this one is really being marketed as like a big deal. So I'll be surprised, but it's obviously something I just wish list and I'll get back to. I do have the first one, but I haven't actually played it yet. I have the upgraded version of it too. Death Stranding 2, anything you want to say about this real quick?
My list is I do not care about that game.
All right, my co-host is hating. Clearly, my co-host is hating on Death Stranding. I don't know why he hating on it. He jealous. He jealous of Kojima's success. I don't know. We'll move forward. Sonic Racing Crossroads was on here. I'm kind of playing the other one. I told y'all if y'all really want to have this game right now, go ahead and play Team Sonic Racing. It was like very cheap. I have that on my PC. Sonic Racing Crossroads. Now the Crossroads part of the name kind of came into fruition with this trailer, because they kind of just they threw some characters out there from all these other places. The crowd was popping for a lot of these different characters, characters that you don't typically see with Sonic, but with the developers, the back end developers, you can kind of see how this Crossroads was like how this could have happened. We saw some Persona guys, we saw some Yakuza guys. The crowd was popping. This is also coming out in September 25th. I think I mentioned that date before. So there's going to definitely be a battleground in September this year. I'm gonna keep up with the sales for this year to see who really battled it out. Usually in October, that's when we have a big battleground, but right now it seems like everybody wants to jump something out there in September, so that might backfire for some of these games. But Sonic Racing Crossroads is out there. Plenty of racing games out there right now. How you feel about that one? You like that one?
Or I only have one issue, and it's a minor issue, and it turns out after I complained, I looked at the comments and people were complaining as well. So Joker from Persona, he's like driving like a car that looks like Arsene, right? Because that's his persona.
Yeah.
Why wasn't it Mona? Like there's a whole like storyline where Mona turns into a van whenever you're in that one world, and you drive and like Mona's like behind the wheel. Why wouldn't Joker drive with Mona like as the van? I feel like that would have been a chance to have two of the characters in there.
Listen, Mona was never that fast though. Mona was kind of cruise controlling. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
it's a van. It ain't really like a racing car. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Arsene's not a car at all. They could have even had a car that was just designed to look like Mona. Like, I don't know why he can only... Because, like, the whole point is he turned into a van so he can, like, carry everybody. I don't know if he can only turn into a van.
They probably also... Because if you have it like that, then you can't actually see the character Joker. So maybe that might have been a design... just a design thing, but...
That makes sense. I expect just his car to have like little like cat ears or something. Something instead. Yeah. Maybe not. It makes sense that you can't actually see Joker. Dang.
But it's cool. I hope it's set up where you can unlock everybody. That's not something you just buy in the beginning. So you can really get the overall out of this game. Yeah. You start off with just the Sonic characters, and you start unlocking throughout races and everything.
I don't even want them to have all the Sonic characters unlocked. I want to have to earn.
Yeah.
People. Hopefully they don't accidentally, or not accidentally, but hopefully they don't like pull a Crash Team Racing where it looks like everything's unlockable, and then last minute they introduce a store with like currency, and it's like you can grind or you can pay for currency. Like hopefully they don't pull one of those.
Yeah. All right, we can move on now. The next title they show, I was not expecting. I was like, okay, cool. I actually got spoiled on this because I got an email. I don't know how they emailed it to me before I even seen the show. But Code Vein has a second game that's going to be coming out in 2026. Was not expecting that. That was one of the Souls games that I pushed early on because I felt like, it had a cool little balance. It was probably one of the Souls games that actually had a story that was in the front and not like in the world, where you had cutscenes and stuff. The anime is there, the fan service is there as well if y'all into that. Code Vein, man, I'm excited, man. The Souls games is back. They never really left. They are here in full force. Are you excited about Code Vein, man?
It's cool. I don't know if I'd say I'm excited.
Like, this on your wish list too? Oh,
I still gotta play through the first one.
You gotta play through the first one. You gotta play through Mortal Shell. You gotta play through Code Vein. You gotta play. Man, we gotta get you. What's going on, man? We gotta get this footage from you, man. We gotta get this footage. The streets have been asking for it. We need this footage, man. These games is right around the corner, man. We can't be waiting all day. Anyways, Code Vein 2. This is poetic for me. I'm excited about this. The first one had its challenging moments. It was pretty straightforward. If you are a fan of Stellar Blade and you want maybe 15% less nakedness, then you could play this. It's kind of like, it has the same kind of anime style a little bit. It still has some of the fan service, not as much as like Stellar Blade. But if you wanted something else, you could play this real quick. It does have its holding your hand moment with that whole NPC character, but you can choose to not have the NPC character. Like with the second game, I'm pretty sure the NPC character will be there by your side, but I probably won't use it at this point because I'm at that point. But yeah, it was there. End of Abyss was another game that I wrote down. That one is cross-platform. I don't know if you wrote that down. But End of Abyss, go check it out. They showed Game of Thrones. That's set to come out in 2026.
Yeah, this is not the Game of Thrones one that's been previewed. That's already out. That's like a money grabby game.
Yeah.
This is another Game of Thrones game.
Yeah. Atomic Heart 2 was a
Warner
different
Bros.
one.
Said they were gonna do that. They were like, we're gonna focus on Game of Thrones, Batman, and Harry Potter.
Yeah. Then they threw out Atomic Heart 2. I thought it was pretty cool looking. Not high on my radar, but I wishlisted. I did. Omnimushi, The Way of the Sword. That one looked very flashy. I thought that was a cool looking one. You like that one?
Yeah, and it's Omnimusha.
Omnimusha. Tomato, man. I want them both, man. I want all of them.
Omnimusha and Omnimusha.
Okay. Arc Raiders. I don't think this got Vin Diesel in it. I don't know if I don't think this is the Vin Diesel one. But
this is a case of a game that was shown off before.
Yes.
That was long enough that they're like, hey, here's a reminder that we're still working on it. Like, this is what I meant. Like, I guess the calling out again kind of PlayStation. The difference between like that and like, no offense, but like Digimon story, where it was just like, yes, I know it's coming out. You're not really showing me anything new. Versus like, hey, this has been long enough. Let us remind you.
Yeah, they threw a few of them out there like that. That comes out October 30th, 2025. Chrono Odyssey. Did I say that right? No, I didn't. Choro Odyssey. Okay. My handwriting, man. My handwriting. Choro Odyssey, go check that out. Out of Words is another game. That one is co-op. Definitely take a look at that. This Out of Words. It's a co-op game, very interesting looking game. Lies of P is already out. They want to show off the DLC Overture. I'm still interested in Lies of P. It is one of the games I'm going to be buying real soon. And then the next game, honestly, is another one of those head scratchers where I'm just like, why we keep doing this? Jurassic World Evolution 3. I don't know how. I mean, like if I get a Jurassic World game, it's like I want to run from the thing, I want to shoot at it, I want to like do all of that. I'm not really into the farm simulator type one.
Yeah, this
park
is
building version. But
this is like the hospital game, the 2-point hospital.
Yeah,
you're managing the park. I know people who are into it, so.
Yeah, Mina the Howler was the next thing that I wrote down. Just following this, I don't got any other detail on that. Go check that out. Mina the Howler, Dying Light, the Beast. If anybody's familiar with Dying Light, you pretty much know what you're getting here. This one's not too far out, August 22nd, 2025. I think that that's probably gonna creep up on some people really, really fast. If you haven't already finished Dying Light 2. Because if I remember correctly, they said Dying Light 2 was like 500 hours or something. You have as much as 500 hours worth of content in that game. So you might still be playing that one. But as soon as you're done, go ahead and play a whole nother 500 hours. Here you go. Dying Light 2 or Dying Light the Beast. If you are a motion sickness person, this might not be for you. Definitely look at some gameplay first. Other than that, I think you're probably fine if you've played those type of games before. The next game that I actually wrote down was called Acts of Blood, which says it's coming out summer 2026.
The demo's
Acts
already out for that one.
The demo is out for this one.
Yeah.
Okay. The first Descendant, that was another one we've seen plenty of times before. They just kind of threw it out there again. August 7th, 2025. So hopefully we can kind of wipe our hands with it. No disrespect to the game. It's just, I don't like when we just showing the same things too many times. 007, The First Light, they've shown this again here. A game called ILL. I think that one was more of a horror game. I wrote that one down. I actually thought that was pretty neat. Mecha Break. They showed Mecha Break again. I've been anticipating this one for a while. July 17th, 2025. Is that something you was interested in? It kind of looks like a Gundam Wing-ish type game,
It
you know?
was until I realized that it's only PvP. Like, that's not my style of game. It's basically now it's just a shooter. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they have PvP and then PvPvE modes. And to be honest, like a lot of times for some of these games, I'm not trying to deal with other people. So if they have like a PvE solely version, then I'd probably check it out more. So it's something I'll keep an eye on, but I'm not in any sort of rush to get.
So we saw a pretty cool little trailer with the wrestler Kenny Omega showing off some Street Fighter 6 content. They had him in, various different outfits and stuff, different characters and stuff. So Street Fighter 6 featuring Kenny Omega. Wo Chang Fallen Feathers. That one looked pretty good to me. I liked how that looked. That one comes out July 23rd, 2025. I will be probably keeping an eye on that a little bit more. It was very,
Oh, I
very
thought that one was
flashy.
out already.
Yeah, I thought it was
before,
too.
so I thought that has been out. I
I
don't know.
think it was a mix in the name with a couple other games though, because it has similar names to something else. But yes, July 23rd. That's not too far away. Rise of the Deceiver. Um, I don't remember too much on this, honestly. Rise of the Deceiver. I think this is a co-op action RPG. That's all I wrote down. So go check that out for everybody. Splitgate 2. I've seen Splitgate 2's information on a whole bunch of different promotional material for the Switch too. So isn't that the or am I thinking of Split Fiction? I don't know. I think I might
I
be.
think,
They
yeah,
got
are
some,
you thinking of Split Gate 2?
yeah,
The
Splitgate
shooter?
2. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then yeah, that's not Split Fiction. So
No, this is a shooter.
two different
Split
games.
Fiction
Two different
is a
games.
co-op game.
So everybody go play all of it. It's a trash talking COD type game, Call of Duty type game, but you
Yeah.
trash talk. Um, Stranger Than Heaven. Was the last thing that I wrote down before the big thing. The name, for all you religious people out there, let's not get too offended. I understand, but Stranger Than Heaven is the name of it. Check it out if you want to check it out. The next big one, obviously the biggest one of the night, Resident Evil Requiem. So this is the 9th Resident Evil game. I absolutely will be checking this out, along with everything else. July 27, 2026. That's not really that far out. That's actually a big release for that. And February is a big release month usually in gaming. I'm excited for it. It looks cool. I play plenty of Resident Evil games. How did you feel about this or any of those games that I mentioned? I kind of just ran through them real fast.
Yeah,
Any,
sorry you to mention. But I like. I thought the trailer looked good. I thought it was funny how, like, they were like, hey, 30th anniversary of like Resident Evil. we will have an announcement, but please give us some time. And then 10 minutes later, it's like, all right, here's our announcement. Like when they said give us some time, I expected like next month or like 2 months from now they were gonna show us. I didn't expect it to be later in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way they just said it's like, please be patient. Or here it is to like literally it's just like, oh, we're on too early. So I thought that was funny. I like the theme that they're sticking with the incorporating the number in the title.
Yeah.
Like how Village had an 8 and then Requiem the Q is a 9. Uh that seems interesting. They're sticking with the very like horror based stuff, which is nice. Look good. It looks good. Um but I'm gonna run through it. So some of the other things that I saw that I liked for the summer showcase. It was a game called Chronicles Medieval, where
Mm-hmm.
basically you're like leading and organizing a team of like knights to go fight other knights. That was like right before the Sonic game. I thought it looked good. Mouse PI for hire. So it's in the style of like Steamboat Willie, those like really old school Disney cartoons, like the really old school ones, and you're like a private investigator. So that one looked cool. A game that surprisingly got a lot of cheers from the crowd that I also thought looked interesting. I just didn't expect the crowd to be that like into it. Uh, Felt that boxing where you're like a Muppet in like a boxing ring, fighting.
Mm-hmm.
That one caught my attention though. Um, I'm skipping over some of the ones you already mentioned, but yeah, Outer Worlds looked good too. It was like a co-op platformer where you and the partner like look like they can't speak, like part of the story or whatever, and it's very like puppet looking or like a stop motion looking. Um, Lego Voyagers. It was another co-op game where you're like a little Lego piece and your partner's a Lego piece, and then you kind of collect other Lego pieces around to be able to do stuff. Um, Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny. I thought the trailer was funny, where it was like, due to the like legend, we have to bring in the strongest warriors, and then it cuts to SpongeBob wearing like a knight costume. But basically, it's supposed to be like Nick characters in a turn-based strategy RPG. So like up my alley. Uh, of course, Axe of Blood looks good. Lego Party. It's basically one of those like Mario Party games, but with Lego characters. Um, I had also written down Blighted, which I was surprised you didn't mention because it looks like your type of game. Uh, a little bit. It's more of the like top down ish, but plays
Mm-hmm.
almost like one of the side scroller ish games where you're just like some bone person with like a scythe fighting through. So that looked good. Infinitesimals was another one that I wrote down. You're a soldier on like an alien planet, but like you're tiny. So you're like an ant, and you're like fighting like other things that are like large. So yeah, you're like a soldier ant.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Wu Tang Rise of the Deceiver. So I didn't realize the dude from Wu Tang Clan was out here making games, but the idea is supposed to
Yeah, I
be
remember them
your
announcing
character
it.
chasing down. Yeah, you're supposed to be trying to find the members of Wu Tang. So it's presented by Ghostface Killer. So I mean, I want to see more of it before just jumping into it. And then another game that wasn't mentioned yet, Into the Unwell. It's another old school cartoon looking game. But it looks like you're a character who's just down on his luck, drinking a lot, and then you get stuck into some like you fall into a well, kind of dragged in there by like this evil guy, and now you're like a platformer trying to pretty much get back out. It seems. Um, So it's, yeah, third person roguelike game. But that one seemed interesting. And then yeah, the Stranger Than Heaven, which I'm interested to see more. It looks like one of those like heavily like story driven detective games, but you also seem to have powers.
Yeah, man. Pretty decent show. 3.5 hours basically, and then we have the Day of the Devs that was like a part of it. But before we move on to the Day of the Devs, the streets need to know this, man. The streets need to know. They showed us Resident Evil Requiem. The people need to know what is your progress on Resident Evil 7.
Oh, since last time, zero.
Man, what you doing, man? The people need the footage.
Playing what
We
I
was
want to play.
asking for the footage. We've been
No,
asking you for this
you
footage for like
keep asking for the
over a
footage.
year now, man. What
No
you
one else
doing,
is
man?
asking.
Resident Evil, they coming out with new ones. You got to catch up, man. What we doing, man? Resident Evil 7, that was the next one. We played Resident Evil 6. When we play Resident Evil 6? That was a long time ago, man. What we doing, man? We got to catch up. The people have been asking. The
You
streets.
keep saying we
The
gotta catch
streets
up,
have
but then
been
you keep saying,
asking for
I
the
gotta do it.
footage, man. The
You play
streets.
it.
The streets have been asking for your footage specifically.
I don't
We got
remember
on this game, man. I mean, I'm just saying. Resident Evil 7, where is that, man? We on Resident Evil 9 now, man. We gotta catch up, man. We can't get to Resident Evil 10 and we ain't finished the 7th or the 8th one or the 9th one, man. I'm just saying. All right. Day of the Devs was in this like large amount of shows here. Day of the Devs is really just them talking about a bunch of stuff. They did show me one more game or two more games that I actually got. It was a game that kind of looked like Journey, but it was called Sword of the Sea. They said that's coming out August 19th, 2025. Like I said, it kind of looks like Journey, but you're kind of like surfing on a sword. A little creative, a little weird, you know what I'm saying? That was something that I thought was okay. Everything else was a lot of like interviews and stuff. And then it was like one other game that I liked here, Neverway, which is kind of a horror RPG. That was pretty much it. Day of the Devs. Anything Day of the Devs for you? Anything you want to see?
No, there was nothing in there.
Nothing in there, man. Okay, let's move on to I guess they call it IO Showcase 2025. When I look at it, I say 101 Showcase, but IO Showcase. This was more of 007 and the Hitman game. I'm gonna be honest, the gameplay that they were showing was very boring. The crowd was kind of dead. And it was like the chat was kind of destroying the show as well, to be honest with you. They had some Mind's Eye content here as well, where they told us that game came out on the 10th, which was 5 days ago as of this recording and everything, and so that was kind of a disaster. But they was trying to show it off here and show off some 007 and Hitman. If anybody is aware or is kind of confused, World of Assassinations is them renaming and rebranding the Hitman 3 with just more content. So I don't know, they keep presenting this as new. It's not new. It's been out for a while now. But yes, IO Showcase 2025 was 2 hours and 15 minutes, and it was just a lot of talking, a lot of interviews. They bought out some of the actors from the movies from the past and everything at some point. How did you feel about this one, man?
I got 0 from it.
You got 0 from it, man. Dang.
Like, cause like you know the main thing from Hitman, the big thing was that it was tying in some of the 007 stuff, and that was mentioned in a different show. Mind's Eye I thought was funny because you know that was a disaster. So there wasn't really like anything from this that was just like, oh yeah, like I gotta get it. It was, I got 0.
Yeah, I think this particular show really dragged a little bit long. Maybe they were trying to just say like a celebration of Hitman a little bit, because they did go and straight up just get real world actors from old movies. I just think no one cared. They was just not really. It was just not in the right place. That's kind of how I took it. It was just not in the right place. Wholesome Direct, 2025. For me, I didn't really get too much from this, but I will say I do follow some of these creators that they showed, so I could give some shout outs because they had some people up in here. Obviously Cozy K, I've mentioned her a few times. I do like that this person is getting some recognition from some of these shows, because they've showcased her a few times and I have been following her since the beginning. Kat is another person that was shown on this show who was kind of a competitor in a way. Cozy K. They were kind of like coming up at the same time. And then there was another girl, Kimberly. It's not Kimberly, but Kimberly. That's another person I follow on Twitch, really. And they showed all these people. A funny thing about it is I have more shout outs for the people on the show than I actually had games. But I just shouted basically just those three people I follow, and then they showed a game called Big Hops. That was like one of the only things I got out of here, and then I did say maybe Sarissa. I don't remember that game too much, but Big Hops I did say I liked. I don't remember, but maybe it was hot when I saw it. Wholesome Direct obviously is
it
just.
was in a different show too. That was the one that was like a platformer where you're a frog. It was a puzzle platformer.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. The frog game, because I remember that now. That was I like platformers here and there, so I was like, okay, I'll probably check that out some point in the future. So that's what I wrote down. Anything you got from this show?
No, like
Wholesome Direct.
I didn't like any of the games really. Nothing really dealt with me. A lot of them weren't my style of game. Like, so it was nothing like the Big Hops thing, but it was already mentioned in a different show. So, yeah.
Shout out to some of the creators though. I mean, I like to see that they doing big things. You know, getting their names out there with other things. That's pretty cool. And then my co-host's favorite show, the Accessibility Summer Showcase. Now, with this, I will say, with the Accessibility Showcase, they showed more games this year. The focus was more on the games versus last year. It seemed like it was a lot more on theatrics. They didn't do that much here. I will give them the props on that. However, I didn't get nothing from it. I didn't really get nothing, to be honest with you. Anything you get from this show? Accessibility
like you
show.
said, this is my favorite show. No, I got 0. I mean, like I did like to focus more on the different games and stuff, and then explaining how they can be, accessible, all that stuff. But yeah, I didn't get anything.
Now they did mention that they are going to have a winter showcase that will take place on Thursday, December 11th, 2025. We could probably, in passing take a look at that. If it's not just for the laughs, if people are really trying to hijack, do what they do, we could take a look at it. But I didn't get anything unfortunately from it. But I do want to say thank you for sticking to the title a little bit more, because that's what they were doing. Devolver Digital, the Kenny Sun story was not a showcase at all. This was like a 10-minute video of some dude kind of playing it off like, yeah, this is my vlog-ish, interview-ish about me, and I'm a creator, and I'm like cracking some jokes, and then voila, here's my game. And I didn't even care too much for it. I don't know why it got its own thing. Why? I don't know who Kenny Sun is, but he could have easily just been a part of somebody else's thing. Did you see this 10-minute thing?
I did, and I didn't. It was like
I don't know what it was about. I don't know what was happening. I was just like, okay, well.
It also didn't help. I was kind of watching like multiple things at the same time, so it was just like some dude just talking the whole time, and I'm like, okay.
He was cracking jokes. He was really trying to be, into his thing and stuff, and I was just like, I don't know what's happening. All right, we got a couple more shows to go. My apologies, because I think the footage might start over as we go, but that's okay. That's okay. This obviously is something that runs long. Women-led Games Summer Showcase, or Games Fest, Summer Games Fest. Women-led games. Did you have anything from this?
Fallen Tear the Ascension, or Tear the Ascension.
Yeah, 2D slasher. I wrote that down myself. Yes.
That was it.
That was it. I like that one. Downhill was the next game that I wrote down. That one's more of a horror type game. That has a demo. So just go get the demo and see if you like it. And then I have Refresh, which is a colorful platformer that, funny enough, I think they were trying to just show, like, spread awareness for this, because Refresh was actually out in 2023 and is currently $5. And I like platformers, so I was like, okay, I'll write this one down. But when I went to look, I was like, okay, this is actually out. Like, so why did y'all put this here and try to act like it was new? So somebody was trying to get some money. They ain't get no money. It was like, listen, buy my other game. So I was like, all right, here is the here's your 5 seconds. It's like, okay, I'll shout it out for y'all. Colorful looking platformer. I thought it was pretty decent looking, but it's $5 right now. So go and check that out if you are into platformers. Women Led Showcase. Is that it? That's all we got. We ain't got nothing else for the Women Led Showcase. All right. Latin American Games Showcase. So we got to the point is, what's interesting about this? I think I'll say this right now. It's like, not only have we like cut up the genres, because there was a bunch of indie genre showcases, even one of them that was 4 hours, but now we're cutting it up based on race, based on nationalities and stuff. It's like,
my thing was my complaint about that, and again, like I mentioned, it was, if you're gonna do a 4-hour indie show and then another indie show, why do we also need one like indie shows based off of these specific genre of developers, or just these indie shows based off of this genre? Like, here's the horror indie show, here's the RPG indie show, here's the ones with black creators, here's the one with Latin creators, here's the one with Southeast Asian creators, then here's the big indie show, and then here's another. And it's like, why separate? Either have them all separate or throw them all together. Why are you doing both?
Yeah, some of these shows too would have definitely benefited from being in different parts of the of the year, because when we cram them all right here, I've said this so many years in the past, it's like, I don't know why nobody understands that. It's like, well, the crowd, you got to understand, just from like even my experience with like a YouTube video, these people can't sit still for 5 minutes, let alone 4-hour shows, 2-hour shows, all that other stuff. They literally don't have the brain to do it no more. Their brains are fried. So these shows, because we got plenty shows here where this could have easily been once per month, possibly twice for a month, and we would have a nice rotation of shows, and you got some time to breathe, time to play some stuff. It's like, if you really pull a list, because I pulled a big list, this stuff is like, okay, you literally could play this and nothing else for the rest of the year. There's just so much stuff going on. But let's get into it. Latin American Games Showcase. Neverway, I've already mentioned that before because it was on a whole nother showcase. Code Bunny was the first thing that I wrote down on here that's new, or at least new to the show. That's a 2D slasher. Shout out to the Playdate. The Playdate itself made an appearance here. They showed off a game that I had actually wrote down before. Terra and Como. That's like one of the games that I thought was worth it if you get the Playdate. So that's one of the games I plan on playing when I get that. Shadow Sacrament, the Root of Evil. I wrote that down. I thought that was dope. Dona's Tales, or Dono's Tale. That is like a old school Mario. It's like a 2D Mario game, like the Super Nintendo looking game. It is available July 25th, 2025. That was one of them that I wrote down. Eagle Knight Paradox was another one that I wrote down. That one I had to write down. That one was hard to read or hard to get the name. I had to rewind it a bunch of times just to find the name on it. And then I was able to Google it and was like, okay, that's the game that they were showing. That's probably another one of my complaints. I just want to say real quick, if you're gonna show all these games and stuff, have the name up there with it. Like, how you expecting people
Yeah.
to find and like your stuff? Like, have the name up there. Like, I don't think people was thinking this through. And I was like, that's why they overlooked their games. But yeah, that was when I had to go back a couple times just to catch the name, just to write down. It's still, 2D action platformer slasher, but it was hard to find. Colonel Hearts was one of the last ones. That one is a 3D slasher, and then a game that has like an abbreviation AILA. It looks like the RE2 remake horror game, kind of like a horror shooter though. And that's all I really have from this. Still pretty dope show. Nice amount of stuff. What do you got from the Latin show?
They only had Dono's Tale.
Nothing else?
The rest of them weren't really like, again, my style of game. So a lot of them was just like, I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't play it. So, yeah, just Dono's Tale.
All right. Southeast Asian Games Showcase. This one was a little bit more shorter for me. As far as my list, Fallen Tears, I think we've mentioned already. That was shown here. Acts of Blood, we've mentioned already. That was also shown here. Whisper Mountain was one of the bigger ones that I pulled from here. Whisper Mountain, I believe, also Grim Trials, which is an action roguelike. It's top down 2.5D. And then I believe there was a game called Whisper Mountain. I wrote it wrong. Whisper Mountain Outbreak. That's the name of it. That one actually looks like Resident Evil 1. As far as its art style, I'm very much excited about that one because that one is more co-op based and it looks like RE1, and it has a demo that's out and it's available August 11th 2025. I almost didn't catch that because I wrote this like really all smudged up on the paper all over in the corner. It's like that was all together. My last thing was called Burning Sword Death Sun. It looks like Sifu but 2.5D with it has a demo as well. Burning Sword Death Sun. And that's all I really got from this one. What you got from me, man?
I got, well, of course, Acts of Blood, but that was already mentioned. Tanuki Pond Summer seemed interesting. It's like you're like the little raccoon dog, but you're like making deliveries and then doing a bunch of little like mini games and stuff to spend your free time. And then Eat the Rich. It was like a game show style game. Looks like a nice fun party game. But those are the only two I got from it.
Yeah. So it wasn't as big as the Latin game showcase for me as far as like games, but they had a decent amount of stuff there. I do still think with this, I don't know if this is gonna be a trend, but I kind of wanted to stop. And that's the whole dividing it by race. Because when I looked at this games showcase, even the Latin one, even the only thing that seemed like, okay, this is made by these developers is when they showed the hosts. Other than that, it was just a game. It just seemed like any other game you would play. It's like only when you showed the host or only when they like flash the developers when it's like, okay, I know your ethnicity basically. But other than that, it's like what's that one game? What's the luchador game that's like a fighter 2D game? What is that called?
Melee?
Yeah, like that. You see the culture in the game. You know what I mean?
Which is funny because I don't think that was created. I think that was created in Canada.
Yeah, it's like you don't really see that with this situation, but for whatever reason, we're starting to separate it that way, and I don't think we really need to do that. That's not really
like
doing
last
much.
year, the Latin American show had like the most games that I wanted out of it, and it was a pleasant surprise. But I then this year again it was like one game, so it's not. Yeah, I don't think it's, especially if you're gonna have again like giant like indie shows. I'd rather you break it up by genre than break it up by race.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the next show is called the Future Game Show Summer Showcase. I usually really like this one because it's like they have like the actors that come in here. They showed the same actors as before. Laura Bailey, the dude named Matt. I forgot his last name.
Mercer.
Don't kill me.
Mercer.
And then what is it?
Matt Mercer.
Yeah, and then they had like the Spider-Man guy come in like halfway in there at some point, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. They usually center that whole channel around this showcase at some point, but then there's like a dude who runs the channel who tries to keep it alive throughout the year with doing like top 10 this and that type shows or top 10 this and that type games. But under this showcase, I wrote down the game The Expanse, The Expanse Iris Reborn. I don't know if I said that right. But that's a third person space shooter. I think that's one of the first ones that they showed. It was like you in space or whatever, you doing your thing, and then you just kind of like you shoot some stuff. I wrote that one down. Echoes of the End. This was like another slasher 3D game featuring a little black girl. The Seven Deadly Sins Origin. Death Ground. Or the Seven Deadly Sins Origin was one game, and then Death Ground is another one. Death Ground, I have paid attention before. That's the Jurassic Park type game that I'm looking for. It's like, yes, you want to run from the thing, shoot at the thing. I ain't with the park simulator, but like an actual action Jurassic Park game. That's what I'm looking for. I wrote that down. Ground Zero reminds me of Resident Evil 2. I wrote that one down. Old school horror type game. Shuya Yoshida showed up at some point. That was the PlayStation dude who was just, giving his props to this show, I guess. Mafia the Old Country was shown. We've seen that plenty of times before. And obviously, I think like there's been a few Mafia games that was given away free on one of these platforms not too long ago. So go check all of that out. Anything that you pulled out from this show?
Yeah, so from the Future Game Show, I had The Expanse, Echoes of the End, Lost Eidolons, Veil of the Witch. Linked Banner of Spark seemed fun. You're like going through and like grabbing pretty much like random tech or like junk to like make your like a super arm. Like at some point, he had like a claw, like metal claw arm, and he was able to grab like a metal shark out of the water and then turn that into a sword. So that just seems interesting. Of course, the Directive 8020, which has been showed off before. It's one of those Dark Pictures games. Agatha Christie Death on the Nile, another detective game. And then one of my top games that I'm looking forward to, Tenet of the Spark.
Yeah, I wrote that down too.
Yeah, you're basically like you switch between three characters, and it's like some indigenous person, a Viking, or not even indigenous, it's like Mayan, like super Inca or Mayan, one of those two. Then Viking, and then like a modern day black dude. And like the dude who was like advertising it was just like, how does this black dude have a Viking ancestor? Man, you gotta play the game to figure it out. Like he was just extra excited about it. But it just seems like really cool combat. Like looks like a fun game.
Yeah, like all three characters I remember, they didn't really seem like they was related to each other in any way. It was just
and
like
it's supposed to be like
completely...
some Inca person has a descendant that's a Viking who has a descendant that's a black kid.
Yeah, so that was one of the other ones I wrote down as well. I think I put a star by it, so I don't know if that. I think that might have been one of my top 5. Man, we'll get to it in a minute. Planet Play GreenGame Showcase. This one was almost podcast style or something. I don't know what they was doing. It really seemed podcasty. Anything you get from this?
I got one. It was called Battle Cars. It
Okay.
was basically they described it as like Mad Max seeming. It was just a bunch of car destruction game. That was it.
I didn't get anything from it, I'll be honest. Frosty Games Fest. This one was
Yeah,
dislike bombed.
this one was basically like the Latin American or the Southeast Asian, but this one was Australia.
Yeah, this one, they had the girl on there, Alana Pierce. She is from Australia. She is very known in the gaming world, and right now she's kind of hated. And so when they flashed her on there, I think that's where the dislike bombs probably came from.
You have to tell me why later. I don't know if she was hated.
Yeah, I can tell you right or not. Like, people think she a liar. The one of the things, so there was a story that came out back around the Game Awards where she was in the building and she claimed that when Astrobot won, that the dude who made, like, one of the dudes who made Black Myth Wukong was crying.
Oh, I remember.
And everybody was like, no, that wasn't true. And she was just like basically hated ever since. They just started pulling a lot of footage where she basically was caught lying about a bunch of random stuff. People questioned her, how much involvement she had with God of War Ragnarok, because she was just basically like, yeah, I'm a writer on there, blah, blah, blah. And people kind of feel like, well, she ain't really do that much. She was just, because her official title was like junior writer, I think. But yeah, she hated right now. She just hated. So I think that kind of factored into this. I will actually mention, because I think I made a mistake here. Under this show, the Frosty Game Show, I did take down one game. It was called Anti-Citizen Red. It looked like a N64 almost graphics, and it was like Manhunt in a way, but as a third-person shooter. And I thought it was kind of creative. I was just like, all right. I also put down, excuse me. One of the co-hosts in here I thought was interesting. This dude's name was Trash. Like, quite literally, that was his name. He went by Trash. And I remember seeing in the comments, somebody said, I feel scammed watching this. That was all I really pulled from this show. But yeah, somebody on there literally went by the name Trash. So,
well, I got one game from it. Isopod. It just looks like a kind of like a speed platformer where you're like one of those bugs that can roll into a ball and you're just kind of like going through the level. That was it.
Yeah, I should have put more gameplay out here. So we got more Mario Kart on the screen. If anybody want to look at that again, I apologize. I could have easily threw another hour in here, it just didn't. But we wrapping it up. I promise you, we wrapping it up, man. The bigger showcase, one of the big ones, Xbox Summer Showcase, featuring The Outer Worlds and Grounded 2. This was shown next. This was like towards the end of this whole thing on Sunday. Lot of stuff they had here. I just wanted to give a shout out real quick to Phil Spencer for the weight loss. I don't know if anybody was paying attention. The dude was looking really nice and thin. He was looking good, man. He was like really good in shape. I was like, man, this dude done got himself a trainer. He didn't really slim down. I just noticed, and I was just like, good for him, man. Good for him. I just wanted to say that real quick. The first thing I think they wanted to really emphasize the Xbox Play Anywhere campaign here. They tried to give you a nice little preview of the Outer Worlds real quick. It was like, yeah, we're going to show you more of this at the end of the show. But I think a running theme that was new to this, because I think what people was alluding to before, that they were going to do something different, and they wanted to make sure they didn't have a live crowd because of it. and the speculation was that they were going to mention games and then mention that it was going to also be on PlayStation. And because of that, they want to have no audience to have like no booze or whatever. And that's what people were saying for a while. And I think there might be some truth to that because for a few games here and there, they had the PlayStation logo on there. Like this would be on PlayStation as well, especially with the third party stuff. And I think one particular game, they did that with Nintendo. They had the Switch logo on one of them games as well. But they showed the Outer Worlds preview and then they went straight into like High on Life. High on Life 2, I should say.
Which we had High on Life footage in this.
Yeah, they had High on Life. Most of the stuff that I'm going to mention is all going to be available on Game Pass, which is exciting. High on Life was one of them. I guess Outer Worlds that we'll talk about later is also on there. Then they showed Resonance, A Plague's Tale Legacy, which is interesting for me. So I was like, I don't know if that's like Plague's Tale 3 or whatever. Maybe it's just in the universe. But
I think they said
in
it's
the
just
lore,
it's a game in the universe.
Game in the universe. So it's like the third game in this genre or in this like franchise, I should say. Also in Game Pass. The other ones were in Game Pass. And then lo and behold, the moment where I had to co-sign not listening to any Twitter person, any story ever again was when they showed the handheld, where they literally came out with this story the week before talking about this handheld is being sidelined and Xbox is looking at other stuff and everything. And I kind of was just like, I don't know if I believe that too well, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say it anyway, because I was just like, well, we never actually got the official reveal or the official word from Xbox about their handheld. I think I did say that. I was like, we've only been hearing this from everybody else, so for y'all to say it's sidelined, it's like, well, I don't know how much that makes sense, but it's like, okay, maybe they want to work on some other stuff real quick, whatever. And then lo and behold, they just threw this thing out there. They were just like, here it is. It's the Rogue Ally 2.0 or whatever. It's like really enhanced. I had to look into it. I was talking to somebody else behind the scenes about it. It's definitely an upgrade from the regular Rogue Ally. It's got a better battery for sure. That was one of the things that they was, talking about before. This thing has a UI that's going to be brand new that even my Rogue Ally does not have. That is, for the Xbox UI, they're bridging the gap between, the Xbox system and the PC, which is pretty exciting. The handheld, I still feel like the regular Rogue looks better just as far as the aesthetic, just for me. But this thing is more powerful. I'm fully expecting it to cost a whole lot. But they showed it off, man. There is no sidelining. It was here. And it looked like the prototype, but it was like trimmed a little bit. It's like a proper color. We saw the Xbox logo at one point. I was like, okay, here it is, man. We got another handheld. The handhelds are starting to really pile up. It is what it is. What do you think about this? Well, you know what? Okay. What do you think about the other stuff first? And then what do you think about this? So far, what we talk about?
I mean, it's cool that they got the handheld. Like we kind of knew it was coming. To some degree, so they're jumping into the market as well. Might as well. Like, have your fun with it. Why not? I think it's nice for those that because I know the other ones can tap into Xbox Game Pass, but like one that's like built kind of for it, I think is cool. So cool on that. In terms of the games, so the Outer Worlds 2, of course, I was excited for, but I'm a big fan of Outer Worlds 1. High on Life 2 was a nice surprise. I didn't know they were going to be releasing a part 2. So I'm excited for that. They showed off more of Blood of the Dawn Walker.
Yeah, that was like right after it. I wrote that down, but yeah.
Avalon was another game that I wrote down. Grounded 2. I want to check out Grounded 1. Grounded 2 looks good. Chronos was another one that I wrote down. And then I liked the intro for Black Ops 7.
Yeah, I think Chronos was mentioned on another show too, because I'm pretty sure I had just talked about it.
Yeah.
Um,
And then the Black Ops 7 guy for the actor Milo Venimiglio. I like him as an actor, so I think he'll be able to handle that role well.
yeah, you kind of jumped ahead of me. Let me go back a couple, cause like right after the Blood uh Dawn Walker, they showed a game that was called Super Meat pause. Super Meat Boy
Meat Boy.
3D. Yeah, I don't know why. Cause I almost said Super Meat Native, but no, that was still part of the handheld. Is that it was supposed to play Xbox games natively, but I wrote it down like in a weird way over here. Um, that I guess its official name is the Rogue Xbox X Ally, or I don't know if it is it Rogue Xbox Ally X. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, the name is kind of crazy, but yeah. Super Meat Boy 3, or Super Meat Boy 3D. It's like a platformer for the Super Meat Boy game. If anybody remembers, the other one was like more 2D, and it was kind of brutal. It was like one of those games that kind of like, if you mess up, you get like slashed into pieces or whatever. So they showed that. They showed some DLC that's going to be coming for the Indiana Jones game, the Order of the Giants. Not sure if I really want to hop back into that. I'm kind of hot and cold on that. But they at least have it right there. Beast of my handwriting, bro. Let me see. Um, I really wrote that down. Crazy. All right, I'm gonna come back to that. Clockwork Revolution puppet shooter, basically. That one looks like another like really big new IP for Xbox. That one they've spent a lot of time on it. I'm a little hot and cold on it, but it doesn't look bad. I will play it because it is still a day one Game Pass release. Grounded 2, honestly, I didn't touch Grounded 1, but Grounded 2, I guess that's coming on July 29th, 2025, which is also day one in Game Pass. Is the Chronos game, is that the one that was also done by Game Freak? Because I think people was like making comparisons and was like, why does Pokemon look so bad, but this game looks so good? Because I
No,
wrote that down on the
Vampire
comment over
Games.
here.
Uh, oh no, wait, this is an old one. Hold on.
It
This is
might not be that. It might be this
Chronos,
game that I skipped over.
Chronos Game 2025. Let's see. No, this is by
Um,
Bloober Team.
yeah, I think the Beast of Recognition. I think that's what this is called. Beast of Recognition. This um
Yeah, Chronos, you're in just like you're fighting monsters in some like heavy astronaut suit.
or is this Beast of Recognition?
Beast of Reincarnation.
Reincarnation? Bro, I wrote it down extra wrong. That's why I was looking at it like, what the heck?
Yeah, Game
That,
Freak's Beast of
that's the
Reincarnation.
game. Yeah, that's the game free game. People was like, why does Pokemon look bad? But then
Yeah,
like
this one is like
this,
you're a samurai fighting giant like.
yeah. I didn't even write that right. But yeah, people was really commenting on that like Pokemon should look better because of this or whatever because it's made by Game Freak. That but when I mentioned Chronos, the New Dawn, that was a survival horror game, and that does have a demo. Um, the alpha game that you mentioned, that space exploration. I think that's something that's not really something that I play that often, but I do look to play that at some point. Did you look at Mudang Two Hearts? I don't know if I said that right either.
Uh,
Mudang Two Hearts.
it's not on my list, but
Yeah. I wrote that one down.
oh,
Solo
I didn't know it was
leveling.
that. I thought it was like a another like couldn't tell if it was like a regular shooter or if it was like a PvP shooter. So I didn't write it down.
Yeah, solo leveling, A Rise of Overdrive. I wrote that one down. Tony Hawk, the man and the myth, the legend. He made an
Of course.
appearance here to promote the Pro Skater 3 and 4. That's available July 11th, 2025. A lot of games coming out this year. And then At Fate's End, which is a 2D slasher. I wrote that down. They show Gears of War Reloaded here. They mentioned that it has crossplay. I believe this is one of them that also it's going to be available day one on Game Pass, obviously. And then there's going to be a PlayStation version. But the cool part about this is, for those of you who have this game, they said you get this for free, basically. Or if you have the original game, let me make sure I say that right. You got the original game, you get this reloaded version for free. Anybody who has the, I believe it's called the Ultimate Remaster version, go look that up. You get this for free. This comes out August 26, 2025. I think I am going to probably still play the PC version on Game Pass, just to get the best fidelity out of it. And then there was something that they showed that was somewhat of a surprise to me. That was Persona 4 Revival is what they call it. When
Yeah.
I was looking at it though, it didn't really look like it was that much different. It was just they took the bobblehead creatures out and they got them looking like regular people walking through, but the graphics didn't really change that much. I'm
Apparently
still
the Persona fans disagree. Like I agree with you. But like even before it was out, the like on Reddit, the Persona people on there was losing their mind about this, talking about what they think the title's gonna be. Like they already knew this was coming. And then after it released, they're like, yo, this looks great. I can't wait to get it. And in my head, I'm just like, I don't understand how this is different from like Golden, but okay.
no, but that's still one of the games in my rotation, so I could let the people know that looks the same. The difference is the bobblehead people is now just looking like a regular character model. But honestly, like as far as I am in it, I don't think I will really want to restart a game like that. That's a pretty lengthy game. I might
Mm-hmm.
think about it. So like the game that I'm playing right now, or Persona 4 Golden, like I do have that at a pause because of a bunch of other stuff. If I hear there is like significant improvements in gameplay, like they tweaked a few things, they worked on a few things, and then I see some videos where people are like, this is better because of X, Y, and Z. Then I'll play the Game Pass version. I don't have no problem doing that. But I'm just really far into it that it's like I don't know if I really want to restart. I have to know that the gameplay got better. Because that's obviously Persona games are like pretty lengthy games. So to be like halfway into it and then they just say bam, it's like I don't know if I really want to go back. But I'll just keep an eye on it. They had Invincible Versus, which
Yeah.
looked pretty dope. I haven't really gotten into that franchise like that, but the game looked kind of dope. It was really more CGI though. So, but I mean, it's still a fighting game at the end of the day. How did you feel about that?
It looked okay. Again, it's just kind of another fighting game. I kind of classify this the way I've been looking at a lot of anime when they make anime games, and it's always a fighting game instead of something like an RPG or something like that. And it's just here's another one. Like I kind of just classified it under that. Seems like they're making a lot of like team battle like fighting games lately.
Yeah. Hell froze over. Obviously, that's what people will say. Because Square Enix finally brought over some of their bigger Final Fantasy titles. Is really Final Fantasy VII Integrate. That was the first Final Fantasy game. Apparently, that Final Fantasy game is going to be 3 games instead of just 2. So expect something else. Right now, Rebirth is the latest one. But Integrate is over on Xbox now. Final Fantasy 16 was also shown here. And they kind of was just, I don't want to say it's a shadow drop because these games have been out, but it was just like, these are available right now as of this show, right here on Xbox, which is pretty cool. I already own Final Fantasy 16 and then Final Fantasy Integrate. I planned on going back to that at some point, just to give it a shot because I was like completely cold on it. Just that type of gameplay back in like 2020 when they first put out the other demo, and I was like, well, let me try to give it a fair shot now that the real game is out and that I've played other games that's similar. Let me try to get it a shot. Now, Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Honestly, I was excited to see the different style that they were doing with this. I thought it was something completely different. Once they said it was Call of Duty, that took the air out of it for me a little bit. I'm not like I like the campaigns and everything. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 campaign was cool. It was great. It's just when I saw Call of Duty, it was like, oh, that was my thought process. I thought
That's fair.
it was a brand new thing because they was doing all type of like control type sci-fi weird stuff
I
going
thought it was
on.
gonna be in that universe,
Yeah, and
which
then it was
made
just
sense
like
with having
Call of
the
Duty.
high like the actors and everything, the type of actors they had for it, like with Milo being in there. After
Hmm.
using what's his name, Ashmore in
Yeah.
uh Quantum Break. So I was just like, oh, okay. But yeah, no, it was a Call of Duty game, but like, I don't know, still looks okay.
2 hour showcase or 2.5 hour showcase. They had a whole bunch of stuff. I do think the show from the year before was better. But they still had a nice amount of stuff that was still, fun stuff that you could play. A lot of it is day one in Game Pass, obviously, so I was pretty excited to hear that. And then they moved on to their direct part of the show where they showed the Outer Worlds and they showed the Grounded 2 a little bit more extensively. I wasn't expecting Grounded 2 to even be like a part of the thing like that until the last minute because it was kind of advertised that it was like the Outer Worlds direct the entire time, but then they kind of just threw this in there. Um, but both games are part of Game Pass. I'll try them. But they weren't really my cup of tea overall, I would say. But
Worlds.
you
I'm
know,
excited for Outer Worlds 2. I loved the first game. I stand
yeah.
by that one. It was great. Um, so I'm really excited for the second one. Um, yeah, I also think their original trailer, when they first advertised that they were doing Outer Worlds 2, was hilarious because they just
Hmm.
showed a generic trailer with the voiceover describing that it's just a generic trailer. It was like, here's all the stuff that's probably not even going to be in the final build of the game, and like, oh look, we're the camera's moving slowly over a mountain and stuff like it was just mocking it, which is just the spirit of that game.
Yeah, they were doing a lot of joke stuff initially, and I think in the actual showcase itself, they were still cracking their jokes and everything
It is a
in there.
comical game that's it heavily mocks consumerism for the game,
Yeah.
the storyline. So
So
I mean,
how long was the first game?
it took me about 30, 40, maybe 50 hours.
I don't know why I thought you was gonna say 30, 40 minutes. I really
Oh
thought that's what you was about to say. I was like 30, 40 minutes. Oh,
nah.
you just knock it out real quick, huh? Like a demo. Um.
um, but also, it also sometimes depends on your playstyle. Um, so the first game, yeah, if you do the main story only, it's about 18 hours, main and extra 37. And I did all the extra. So part of it is one of the games. Hopefully they do this for the second one. In the first one, the extra side missions can influence the main mission. So there was like a main mission where I needed to get some item, and I would have had to like stealth in, steal it, get into a huge fight, blah blah blah, to try and get one. Meanwhile, this other guy who's like a sports guy in the game was just like, "Can you like deliver this package for me or whatever?" And I delivered it. It was like a side quest, and then he was like, "Oh, thanks. Oh, you need one of these things? Here, I have one." And it just kind of cut that whole mission,
Hmm.
because he gave me that, which I would have had to do all this crazy stuff without it. Or, because I had high charisma, I was able to talk my way in and out of a lot of situations, without having to like break down into fighting. But the game even has a setting where if you keep making really, really bad choices, your character's intelligence can get really low to where you talk like all your responses come off like a caveman and you make like constantly bad decisions and it'll lock you out of smart decisions because you're playing it in that way, which gives the game a very abrupt ending. So it's one of the alternate endings you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's very like some of the length of it is going to depend on how you play.
Okay. Um, I think as far as the showcase, this was the last bigger one, and then we just had like a few more that was just going. Like it just kept going, right? But like the bigger names are pretty much done at this point. But the next one was the PC gaming showcase. Um, it's funny because I always felt like the PC gaming showcase and the future game showcase could probably combine. I always
Yeah,
thought that they probably could, but that's probably not what they're. That's probably not what they want to do. But anyways, yes, PC gaming showcase was the next one. Anything on here that you got?
Far Far West, a four-player co-op shooter where you're like skeletons. The Neverwinter Nights 2 re-release seems good. Den of Wolves, which we've seen before. Engine Fall, Pathfinder, Abomination Vaults, another like RPG game. Moonlighter 2, Fair or Far Ever, Spirit Strike, and Dark Tide Arbites.
All right. I really just put down the Rogue Prince of Persia, the Rogue Prince of
Ah,
Persia,
yeah.
and then I believe a game called The Altars, which is a survival space game. I think this might have been the one where, like, at the very end, they kind of like teased that it's going to be like a little bit more horror based. But yeah, I wrote that one down, and that was pretty much it. The PC Gamer Showcase, to be honest with you. At least for me, that was pretty much it. It sounded like you got more out of it than I did.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Death Stranding 2 on the beach gameplay stuff?
I sped through it, got bored.
Cause I'm like, Death Stranding is so big, it gets its own showcase
Yeah,
after it
no,
was mentioned everywhere else. So
just like with Death Stranding 1, like
Death
footage. I was
Stranding,
bored
man.
with it.
So I better see this game. This game better do like some GTA 6 numbers, at least for a month, for the type of energy that they've been putting into the Death Stranding game. I do plan to play it, the first one. But I'm not that sold on the second one where I think it needs that much coverage the way that they give it. No disrespect, I don't think it it shouldn't be on the level where all of a sudden it's got its own show in the middle of all these shows. It could have easily just had a couple extra minutes in one of the other shows. But it is what it is. RPG Direct. What we thinking about that? RPG Direct.
I thought it was going to be better than what it was. I only liked one game out of it, and RPGs are my thing. But it was called Bagdex, which is basically on one of the four like Pokemon ripoff games that was like shown off throughout uh the many shows. Um, that was the only one, and I really thought I would like more.
I didn't pull anything out of this. I'll be honest. I just let it run. It played. It went through its full thing, and I got nothing from it. I'm gonna be honest.
That's fair.
No disrespect to it. I just didn't get anything. They
Bagdex was like one of the
really
last games shown.
you talk about really stretching out these shows. That one it was just like a RPG direct as well. I guess now we get to the point where Trigger warning for anybody out there. This is gonna trigger you because I thought this might need to be addressed. Black voices in gaming. You watch this?
Yeah, I liked the game Relooted, even though I could tell probably some people don't. Basically, they made Killmonger from Black Panther the good guy, and you're that team. Like, you're stealing artifacts, but it's like, oh, we're stealing back from the museum, whatever. It just seemed like a cool platformer. That was towards the end. That might have been the last game shown. The rest of this thing felt like a big waste of time.
It was. There was like a heavy emphasis on South of Midnight. It practically had mass spoilers. That's what I put in there as mass spoilers. But that interview kind of ended abruptly because they edited it. Maybe it was because of time's sake. They may have went over because of time. But that's a game that I'm still playing. Yeah, say it again.
How you feel about the concert in the middle of the show?
Bro, I just want to go over this. But first, let me give a shout out to my guy Justin Woodward. He was the host on one of the other shows, him and his wife. And then he was a host again here. I see him on these shows like every year now. I think he a cool dude and everything. I think he's cool. But like right after they showed him, they showed like 2 games and they went straight into that South of Midnight interview. And then one of the games that I wrote down right after that was called Advent Neon, which I think they said comes out July 18th, 2025. It kind of looks like an old school Sonic 2D game, but it has like boss fights and then you can kind of parry as well. The dude who's like was narrating this game was the guy who made it. Single developer. He's asking for $20. You can wishlist it right now, but it's not really available. I think there is a demo though. The guy you're talking about was Mega Ran, who was the rapper, and for Mega, he had his name like mentioned to sound like Sega, but it was like Mega, and he was rapping about video games and stuff, and then they showed a few more games afterwards. But I just gotta address one thing that is kind like I have dark humor, so it's kind of funny, but then it was kind of sad at the same time because this went way too long. Did you see that comment section though, bro?
No.
You didn't see this? Okay, well, from the very beginning, I wrote this down. I wrote it down because I think it probably needs to be addressed. I have a dark humor, bro. I really do. But that comment section, like after a while, because this show for some reason was like an hour and a half, right? It was just so much stuff going on. But it was just like, honestly, and I'm glad it's like really at the end, like it was so much racism, bro. In that comment section, it was crazy. So at the very beginning of the show, there was some people in there spamming like emojis of chicken, watermelon, and cigarettes. And I was just looking at it. At first, I didn't catch on. I was just like, "What is they doing?" And then I thought about it, and I was like, "Wow, bro!" And then there was like people in there. They was spamming the White Lives Matter, All Lives Matter. They was doing all of that. I was just like, dude. Somebody was spamming fentanyl Floyd. Go back to the farm. People was talking about crime statistics. People was farming. They was spamming the N word where they spelled it out from N all the way to the hard ER. I was just looking at it like bro, they went on for like the entire time. And like by the time
don't watch it. Like at this point, just don't watch it.
It was just going. Like in the beginning is one thing, right? But it was just going. There's people chanting or spamming I can't breathe, BBW. I was just writing it all down. I was just looking at it, I was like, really? We was Kangs, y'all run into KFC, go back to Africa, a bunch of monkey emojis. A bunch of like the Black Power fists. Somebody put Detroit Simulator. I'm Black and I'm Proud. Woke. O Block Simulator. And then there was a bunch of disable this chat, and then other people saying enable the chat, and then it was just crazy. And it kept going, and I was just like sometimes it was funny at first because it's like at the very beginning it's kind of funny. Then afterwards it's like, yo, y'all really keeping this going for like the entire time? Like it was the entire time, and I'm just like, dude. But Mega Ran the rapper like somewhere towards this when it slowed down, it was like, okay, it's kind of tamed, and then this dude comes on, and he's kind of nerdy, he's kind of cool. I had no issue with him at all. That chat, it was almost like it restarted. I was just like, dude, like, and I'm glad that that was a recording and they weren't like interacting with the chat or anything like that. They just kind of played it. I do think the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley, whoever's in control of that show, definitely needs to do a better job of like policing that a little bit. That shouldn't have just ran like that because it's kind of just up. You can just go look at it, and nobody kind of disabled it later or nothing. I really think they just had it set up on a schedule and they just left it, and nobody went back to look. But it's all right there, and it's kind of distasteful and disgraceful, and it's like it wasn't necessary at all. This type of energy was not under any of the other showcases that was like centered around race, but it was right there for this one. And I was just like, dude, like not
Yeah,
after 40
it's
minutes.
just again like and this is why I usually try to avoid that stuff. It's like one person making some stupid monkey joke. It's like it's already played out, but it's like depending on the context, whatever. When you're the 25th person making a monkey joke, it's like, dude, you're lame. Like it's just you're lame. Come up with something original. So it's like if all you can do all the time is like, haha monkey, haha chicken, haha fatherless, haha crime statistics. And the crime statistics thing isn't even funny. Like when I see that type of stuff, it's just like, yeah, like the crime statistics on black and black crime, and it's just like, well, because most black people live in an area with other black people. If you look at the crime statistics on white crime, like it's gonna be because a lot of white people live by white people. Like, um, it's not, I don't know. It's just stupid to me. Like, and again, this is a person that's like, I'm not sensitive. I like dark humor and things like that. But then there's certain topics where it's not. I'm offended. It's just as lame at this point. It's
Yeah, it
boring.
just
Like
went way too
everyone has
long.
done this, and it's just like, and it's another thing that's like with this current, like, sort of generation of humor, where it's just like everyone has to kind of redo the same thing. And someone makes a popular thing on TikTok, and then 80,000 people have to do the exact same thing to try and get their little 5 seconds of fame. Where it's like, bruh, this has been done already. Um, and it's just it's that, and that's how I feel about a lot of some of these like race jokes when they want to throw them in there. It's like, okay, so you came on here just to be racist because you think you're some edgy person that's funny. It's not funny. And then when you're the 12th person to say it, you're also not funny and you're not original. You're a copycat and you're lame. Like, do something different and everything. Like, if
Yeah.
that's what you're gonna do to spam this show, just don't watch it. Like, if I get bored of it, I'm just not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna sit here and just hate through the comments just because I think I'm funny. And then the other issue is with some of these race stuff, especially with them hard Ring and things like that. What annoys me is I like, as you know, and I've like always said this stuff and everything. Like how we mentioned it, I don't think we need like race specific shows,
Yeah.
and things like that. And there's a lot of always race talk things where it's just like we don't need that, but they happen because these people keep going on and doing this. So when you're constantly on here being racist, not even racially funny, you're just straight up being racist, then they're like, this is the reason why this stuff needs to exist because we don't have a safe space for it. So we have to keep promoting it. Where it's like, if you just keep your little racial issues to yourself and be quiet about it, then a lot of the stuff will die down because there's no reason to have to try and promote it because we don't have haters like you out here acting stupid. So I try to avoid the comment section and stuff from that because I already know it's just like people was like, you're not about to say it to my face. Like, go ahead and try and say it to my face, Audra. Like, you're not. You're hiding behind a keyboard
Yeah.
because you think you're funny. And it's like, and you're not. You're not funny. You're not the first person to do it. You're unoriginal. you're copycat and you're lame, and you're the reason why this stuff has to keep happening. I would love for it to not have to be here and not have to worry about that type of stuff and not have to see it. But it's like, well, why does it exist? Oh, this is the reason why. Similar when dudes are being creeps, right? Where it's just like you see all these posts about like men do this and like this is why women feel unsafe, and it's just like, why do I have to keep hearing it? And then you turn around and hear a story of like see a stream where some girl is just out and about on her stream and some dude's being a creep and like not knowing how to handle a no and like harassing them, and it's like, well, this is why they have to keep bringing it up because of you. And that's what these racist people are.
Yeah, so it really just ran way too long. It is what it is. I don't remember seeing that the year before. I watched the comment section on all the shows that had it, and everybody else was, business as usual. It was all about gaming. But this one, just like, I didn't understand why they did that. But the show is going to still continue. I'm pretty sure they're going to be back next year with another one. They mentioned Dame of something. I forgot what that name of that show was, but Dames of Devs or something like that. That's gonna come at some point. The VR showcase also is going to be next month, where I think it was supposed to be like on the original schedule. I'm pretty sure it said like June 11th. But they switched it to July 11th, so that's a month out or whatever. I don't know where this Dame show is going to show, but plenty of shows. So if you, keep it clean and you just, want to play some games, there's plenty of stuff out here for you to play. Like I said before, Avid Neon was like the only thing I had got from the Black Voices in Gaming. But when I was seeing that comment section, I honestly wanted to just buy the dude game straight up right then and there. I was just like, is this available right now? Let me just support this dude, because this is kind of crazy. It was just crazy from what I was seeing.
So you didn't comment in the comment section, right?
No, because I caught the replay. It was just there.
Yeah, the point being is there's a lot of people who didn't comment in the comment section. Like, I always try to remember, it's like the people just kind of being annoying online. As much as it feels like there's a lot of them, it's not. It's a minority.
Yeah, it really is still a very small margin.
Are ignored. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of the people were like me. I had that little comment stream section off. Like, I ain't looking at y'all. I don't care. Because even on the better shows, right? Like, not even on this one being racist, but like during the PlayStation State of Play, I turned it off because every other comment was, "Where's Wolverine?" And it's like, as much as I want to see that show too, or that game too, if it ain't ready, it ain't ready. Like, you don't need to be the 100th person asking where's Wolverine. Someone's already wrote that down. Like, you don't need to also add to that. Like, so when that's just like filling it up and it's just like no one saying anything of substance, I'm gonna just turn this off. Like, it's a distraction at this point. So as much as I see all the hateful stuff, it's like, this is people trying to be edgy and it's just a small amount.
Yeah. So, like I said before, plenty of shows. Go check them out. I do think we have a perfect example of like a proper schedule working. It's definitely more than 12 shows here. Once a month would be awesome. I don't know. There's no E3. There's no actual going in person anymore. So they don't necessarily need to have it like
even if
this.
It's not once a month, once every other week.
Yeah.
It's like, you got 2 weeks to watch a 2-hour show. You can make that work versus like, here's like 18 shows in a week. Like, come on.
Yeah. So out of everything that I have watched and stuff, I did make a quick like top 5 list. Some of it has some higher names, some of it has some lower names. The Chronos, the New Dawn actually was one of them that did go on my list. It reminded me of not necessarily what is the game called that we liked but didn't like? I can't even think of it right now.
Can you describe it?
It's just like what is the game? I can't think of it.
Did we play
It
it?
started with a C. I forgot. I know it started with a C. But the horror game that came out, but then didn't nobody like it because it was messing up. And it was I can't even think of the name. I'll come back to it. Whisper Mountain Outbreak was one of them, high on my list. Co-op game. I would love to play the game in co-op because it looked like Resident Evil 1, but it was like that top-down feel, and it's not actually Resident Evil, but it was like two-player doing the the zombie shooting and running around in that mansion kind of thing. And I thought it looked good. I thought it looked good as a small game. Tenet of the Spark was another one that I actually said was going to be in my top 5. And then obviously your heavy hitters, Code Vein 2, if you consider that a heavy hitter, Resident Evil Requiem. And then the other game was the Chronos game. I'm just trying to think of the game. What was
Callisto
the
Protocol?
Yeah, Callisto. It looked like Callisto, but not Callisto.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. I was like, okay, I'll give this one a shot. I'll say it's my top. So I got more horror games in my top, basically. That was my top 5.
So I tried to avoid games that were mentioned before, slash I knew was already coming out to put in my top 5. So that took out Sonic Cross Worlds, Digimon Story, Outer Worlds 2, so those weren't in there. And Blood of the Dawnwalker and Axe of Blood because I already knew about that one. So for my 5, it was Felt That Boxing, right? I just thought it was goofy looking. But I could probably drop that one also for 007. I was excited for both of those. Romeo is a Dead Man, Mouse PI for Hire, Tenet of the Spark, and then High on Life 2. I wasn't expecting there to be a sequel for High on Life, and I just played, the first one not too long ago and beat it, and I still plan on playing the DLC High on Life. So it's nice that game is going to keep going. I think it's a very solid shooter. It's it has some fun humor in it.
Yeah. So some pretty cool stuff. I guess that's it, man. We went way over. I kind of figured we would, but even though I attempted to not, I was like, let me not put that much footage. Let's just try not to do it. But we went over, which is expected. Afterwards, we'll be back to a regular schedule. But yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. We will catch you on the next one. Peace.